wake up, it's another person that's dead, and YouTube has to solve it because the law is filling kids. I'm disgusted at the evil in the end, and if you connect the dots, you'll see the vision in your head. Why do people die as victim to the streets? They wonder why I'm up all night and can't sleep. I'll be the voice for everyone who can't speak. L.E. fell Kylie and now Sammy is free, AWP did a good deed, and y'all be talking all that shit while they just do it for free. 16 days for 35 minutes.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. We are back with another one. What up, Regina? Right in the building. Low 12. I know everybody's worked up out here in the community. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate you guys being here with me on this Saturday, the 24th of June. It's 3:56 my time. Sunshine was going on. I see you, CKI. Thank you. I did see that while I was backstage talking to Detective John. And also, you know, I appreciate everybody that's here today for the conversation. Anything that you guys want to talk about, put it in chat. Also, I will be bringing some more people up also. So we'll leave it at that. This is for the best channel, mods, and family. Thank you, CKI. I appreciate you. Now, I do want to say this whole sheath placed, finagled bullshit that they're talking about with the sheath under Maddie's dead body and basically the defense coming at all that, right? Like I've been seeing, and like after looking at the documents, you just got to think just like this, right? The jury, these juries that they're going to pick, the jurors, let me put it like that. They're going to be smart. They're going to have common sense, and they're going to see through the smoke screens. And that's as simple as that. Innocent till proven guilty, right?
That's right.
But that DNA on that sheath will be his fucking demise. And that's just how I feel. And I still feel that way.
That's
what
right.
About you, Second John?
100%. 100% agree. 100,000% agree. And hey, everybody, that picture that I made is just me saying, hey, call in to the T-REV show. So that's why my hand's like that. It's not a hang loose hand. It's like, come on, bring it.
Yeah.
We want to talk to you guys.
Bring it. I'm just saying in general, though, it's smoke screens. You know what I'm saying?
Smoke screens.
People are acting, oh my God, did you see the new documents that the defense wrote? I'm like, it's smoke. Wait till you see what the prosecution writes.
You know what's funny, man, is I'm just gonna have to say this. This is like a screenplay. Every single case. And these people that are on these other shows trying to say, oh, that's a bomb. The defense just dropped a bomb on the prosecution. Hey, newsflash. Why don't you just pull up any case, any major homicide case or anything, and read through the documents and read how the defense responds to the prosecution and vice versa. This is a game, people.
Is it using DNA? I knew you would be here because I know you got that tinfoil hat on. But
she's freaking. All this attorney is doing is grandstanding, because I can guarantee you, when this is all said and done, she's no longer going to be with the state. She's going to be out on her own because she's going to make millions off of this case. But all she's doing is writing a fabricated bunch of bullshit, and everybody's like, oh, there's no DNA in the car. There's no blood in the car. Newsflash again. There are a plethora of homicides that happen that the perpetrator gets back in the there and they find no DNA or any other evidence. You know, it would have been a bonus if there was DNA in there. But this guy, there was no shower. We can what if everything all day long. And I think, or what if, all these other shows keep saying, what if this or what if that? And
it's great that they're going to allow cameras in the room too. I think that's great. By the way, I know that was anybody pay attention to that they are keeping the cameras in there, but the judge is keeping a close mind on whether he wants to change it or not. So far we got cameras.
Right. And that's awesome. And like you and I were talking, a while ago about this privately, there's no way that Judge is going to be able to keep cameras out of there. I would just say bring it in just to shut everybody up, because it would just be a bad move if he said no. So, this is going to be a lot of money for all these networks, and even, great for all the people out there with these chats. It's going to be great because we can actually watch the trial and go blow by what's going on. So I'm really looking forward to it. Although it's probably going to be over a year away, but I just back to this document right here. It's just a joke. It really is.
Oh, we'll get to that. I got them right here. Let me see. That's the gag order. What is this one? Okay, what? I got this one also. I got them all. I'm just
and here it is, basically in a nutshell. She's doing her job. She's a good attorney. She's gonna try. And right now, through the gag order, she's able to even get some stuff out there, which is making people think, oh my God, the whole lab thing. We all knew that was already out there, that it was sent to a lab. That was not any, this isn't earth-shattering information. Like, it's the way she's articulated it. She articulated this to cast doubt. Don't even think for 1 minute that that's not what she's doing. This is for all of us to see, because she knows that we're all out here, and she knows that people like Truth and Transparency are going to sit down and giggle. Oh my gosh, she slayed it. Go freaking crazy. It's insane. It's like she's having a freaking orgasm watching this shit. Or reading this shit. It's freaking crazy. So this is nothing, people. This is a nothing burger. This is so simple. This case is so simple now that we know some of the things we know, that it's ridiculous to even entertain this freaking dramatic, fabrication, because that's what this is. This is nothing more than, oh, you didn't do this. Oh, who's to think that, you can't produce all the, everyone that's ever submitted anything to the DNA related to this case should be a witness. Give me a fucking break. This
Right.
lady she's a great attorney. She's doing her job. And I'm not faulting her. I'm not saying that what she's doing is wrong. But I challenge anybody to go ahead and pull up a case and read through another case similar to this one. It's all going to be the same shit. Now, the big thing is going to be, wait till the state responds to this. Oh, it's going to be earth-shattering. I promise you. It might even be like 5 lines long.
Shit.
But it might be longer.
I mean, seeing what the state dropped in that PCA, I mean, they're about to probably leave mines hanging.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you right now, anybody that follows these other shows that are going crazy on this stuff and are jumping on that bandwagon, please don't, because this case is not, she's got to do what she's doing. So don't get your feathers all ruffled over something like this, because this is a nothing burger. Period.
A nothing burger. So I mean,
nothing burger.
Let's see. Let me pull this document up too.
There are some things on here that surprised me, though, that with a gag order that she was able to say. So
like this, for instance,
she might get her ass spanked. She might get her ass spanked for this.
Like I said, for this right here, it says the state apparently thinks that they need not to explain how they came to think that it was Mr. Koberger's DNA on the sheath. Presumably, the defense is expected to accept at face value that the sheath had touched DNA just waiting for testing by all the FBI's myriad resources. Additionally, the defense is to guess whether the state focused its investigation on Mr. Koberger via a bizarrely complex DNA tree experiment or through its faulty identification of the vehicle involved in this case. Perhaps, unsurprisingly, Mr. Koberger does not accept that his defense does not need this information. It rather obviously falls within the ambit rule of Rule 16b, 4, and 5, a fact that state's briefing makes clear in its kitchen sink approach to their briefing. The state begins their argument claiming Rule 16 has no interest in IgG testing, and then ends their argument claiming. But that's the argument on this document, and I'll pull it over here. So I'm sure you guys already.
The IgG testing has no bearing on this case. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. All that is a tool That's it. But to say that you need to produce everybody that's linked to that DNA because they submitted it and have them testify, oh, well, actually, you're not really a bio kid of this family. You were adopted. That's your adopted name. That's what they're looking for. Shit like that. It's freaking, it's stupid.
What do you think about what do you think about words like kitchen sink?
Kitchen sink was unprofessional. Unprofessional. To put that in this document was unprofessional. Sorry, that's not the way. That's not the verbiage you use.
It's funny you said that because I seen somebody that's actually in the law field, and they said, what did they say? I'm trying to find it right now. They said, I'm gonna pull it up because it actually hit the nail on the head.
It actually, you know what it is? It's gonna piss the judge off because you don't use that type of verbiage in a document like this. You keep it professional. You don't throw those blanket insults out.
It is right here. This filing appears very unprofessionally written. Perhaps student law clerks interning using terms like kitchen sink. And first of all, it is labored with much sarcasm. Odd for legal filing. In the end, they are asking for more that has not yet been provided. Good stuff, defense.
Exactly my thoughts. Exactly. First time when I read, you know what's funny, people, that I didn't even read this all the way through because it's a kitchen sink response. It's ridiculous, but she has to do it. And now, do you think that she sat down and wrote this like whoever just wrote what you just said? No, she's got all kinds of people on this.
Detective John, no blood in car, because we all seen that. There's nothing connecting him.
So
somebody hit bumper, hit code bumper in here.
So no blood in car. Sandra, so what? So what? I don't care if there's blood in the car. How many days was it before they even got that car? Can we go back and look? T-REV, it's like a month and a half?
The Doc City Crime says the defense has no case, so Ann wants to play sloppy police work card. That won't work in this case.
Exactly. This woman is a great attorney, but again, for that to pass through her hands, if she didn't write it, which I don't believe she completely wrote this, she redacted it and put other stuff in. But the use of the term kitchen sink, that's just going to piss the judge off. I'm telling you, he may not say it publicly, but I'm sure he's going to admonish her for doing shit like that because this was totally unprofessionally written. But you know what it was written for? It was written for us. Mm-hmm. This was a grandstanding document for us out here because she knows that everybody's on this case. So she knows that putting that stuff in there will actually be kind of talking down to us and bringing it down to our, level out here because we're all a bunch of peons and not attorneys like herself. So she's just kind of, writing it in layman's terms so people will understand. But throwing a kitchen sink word in there was unprofessional. And I'll tell you right now, in our court down here, the 5th DCA in Volusia County, Florida, her ass would be spanked for that. I can promise you that. Because I know the judges here, and they would not tolerate that kind of verbiage in a legal document on a case like this. No way. So this is all drama. Drama 101, people. To get people like, all these other shows to jump all over it. And
thank you, Midwest Girl.
Cream their pants reading this stuff. It's freaking crazy.
Midwest Girl, Lisa, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Donna, I can't, like I said before,
John, do you think Steve G has doubt now? Says Lisa.
Who has doubts? Who has doubts?
Lisa, do you think Steve Gonsalves has doubts now? I'm pretty sure that's what Lisa was asking.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would bet my house, my life, I would bet everything on this case right now that it'll be a 100% conviction. Now, in the grand scheme of things, at the end of all of this, are all the jurors going to recommend death? I don't know.
He bleached the damn car. He was seen cleaning the car, says Carlos. Carla,
Right,
was it
and they're
Carla?
gonna find all these cleaning agents were
Connection.
present, and it's circumstantial stuff. Well, everybody cleans their car, probably not as vigorously as this guy did, but
Evidence
you
of
know,
what?
it doesn't matter.
Ran
I
through the
mean,
car.
the defense will eat that up. Oh well, we found, you know, bleach, peroxide, all these cleaning agents. And the defense is going to say, okay, so he had a stain, he couldn't get it out. You know,
Because
and
she said no DNA in car. It's true. That's a good point. I gotta know,
that
right?
is a good point because we don't know that. She's saying it because maybe she doesn't have all the evidence yet.
Did she scour that 51 terabytes already? Damn, that was fast.
I have no idea. I think the 51 terabytes is going to be a lot of video, and I think it's going to be a lot of the 3D video that was taken of the crime scene, because
That's a
that's
good
going to
point.
eat up a lot of space, man. That 3-dimensional video of every freaking square inch of
Like
that house.
Brianna just said, how is this public with a gag order?
That's what I said earlier. I think she's going to get spanked on some of this, people. She'll be admonished for it. I guarantee it. We may not hear about it, but there's some stuff in here that she shouldn't have said, but now it's out there. So she got it out there. So she's got all these people that were on the fence now saying, "Ooh, well, maybe he. Oh my God, it's if they don't find." And I've always said, you know, I've worked cases where you would think there would be tons of DNA evidence in the car, and there not been. You know, also we can what if this, we can what if that, and scenario this and that, but you know, there's no shower curtain in his bathroom in the shower. So what better way could you have than to line your car with a shower curtain, knowing that you're about to go commit a heinous crime? You could have blood all over yourself. Line the damn car with a shower curtain. Hop in that car, take that shower curtain out, discard it, bam. Probably not going to leave much DNA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might have it on the door handle, which he's scoured down. This guy's not stupid. He's a forensic guy. He wants to get into the business of using technology to study forensics, to solve cases. That's his major. That's what he wants to do.
Right.
So he's no idiot. So there being no DNA in the car, I've never said, oh my God, it's going to be a problem if there's no DNA in the car. No, I did not say that. You know, you would expect that there might be some DNA, but that's, again, a nothing burger. There's tons of cases where no DNA has been found in vehicles. Tons. So all she's doing is grandstanding for her client, her defendant here. That's all she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead if you want to keep going over this, T-REV.
Yeah, no, I mean, let me see.
But some of these guys, and you know, I go on, like I said, I creep a little bit and watch some of these shows, and some of these guys are surprising me. You know, they're like, "Oh my God, now, oh, I think it's going to be a problem." No, it's not. No, it's not. Here's the thing. So we're supposed to buy the defense's allegation, which is nonsense, that someone went into that house, planted a knife sheath, and somehow got Brian Kohlberger's DNA into the male portion of that knife sheath snap and the female portion, and on top of it, or wherever they got it from on the snap, and somehow before he was even developed as a suspect, when they retrieved that evidence and they tagged and bagged it, that they just picked him out and they're like, oh, we got to set this guy up for this crime. Give me a break. And you know what, everyone? These other shows that are out there jumping up and down on this particular bandwagon are absolutely doing nothing more. And they're helping each other because they're getting on each other's shows. They're helping each other out to make money. They're helping each other out to make money. They're jumping up and down on each other's dicks to make money. That's the bottom line. And they're taking advantage of people that are, and I'm going to use the word ignorant. Forgive me. That doesn't mean you're stupid. That are ignorant to this entire process, that don't know what it takes to put a case together. They had no idea how collection of evidence works. They have no idea what is legal and what is not legal. They have no idea what should be released to the public and what shouldn't be released to the public. So these other shows are just taking advantage of ignorant people. Bottom line. You can't even go on most of these shows and list a comment without paying money. It's not like that on the T-REV show. Is it T-REV? You can go on here and get in chat. You can come on in here and say what you want to say. You got to pay any money?
Nope.
Go on to some of these other shows right now and try and get in their
You
chat.
can respectfully come in and say whatever you want.
Right, but you can't go on these other shows and go in there and chat. Most of them, not all of them.
I watched Jeff get smoked the other day. I watched Jeff get smoked the other day for just going in and saying, they were like, "Oh, I seen you on Rev's channel. Get the fuck out of here!" Like,
oh yeah, and Jeff handled it just like, well, what am I supposed to do? You know, I'm just, you know, he handled it fine. He was very calm. He's just like, you know, what are you going to tell me that I can't go to one movie theater and watch, you know, Top Gun Maverick and go to another one and watch Top Gun Maverick? You telling me I can't do that? That's how shallow these people are. It really is. It's how shallow these people are. I guarantee you that you could come over to the T-REV show and you could have a conversation with T-REV, myself, or whoever else is on panel. And, you know, if we disagree with you, unless you get abusive in some way, you're not going to be kicked out of the show. In fact, that's why I made that picture of myself holding up the phone. Call into the T-REV show. Bring it. Don't sing it. Bring it. Don't sing it. If you want to talk shit, come on over to the T-REV show. We'll be more than happy to entertain you. I'll love to talk to you. T-REV will love to talk to you. And we can agree to disagree in the end. If you still walk away after having a conversation with us and you feel like Brian Kohlberger is innocent and that that all these agencies, the FBI, you know, Moscow Police, the Idaho State Police, Washington State Police.
High Priestess campaign said this is the OJ song. The sheath is a plant. Fuck
right. I said that before. This is like, I keep bringing the OJ case up because OJ Simpson. You know why OJ Simpson won that case? He won that case because of Rodney King and all the racial tension that was going on in LA. That's why he won that case. If he'd have been in any other state, like Florida or somewhere like that, that man would have never got off. He got off because they played the fiddle with the media. So that's bottom line. All this garbage that, you know, cops are beating people left and right. You know what? I'm not going to get too much into that, but let's talk about real statistics. I can guarantee you, and I had the numbers at one time. I don't have them now. But no one talks about white people getting beat by the police. It's always a minority. You know, it's like the police go out to beat up black people. That's not true. Absolutely 0% true. Bottom line is, unfortunately, we work in areas that are low income and there's a lot of crime there. So sorry to tell you guys, this was not something like that. They're not going to get away with this crap. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Well, guess what? No one used their common sense there to object to that because that glove was tagged and bagged, soaking wet with sprinklers spraying on it the night before. And what happens to high class leather? It shrinks. You ever had a golf glove that you throw in your golf bag and then you go to try to put it on and it's all shriveled up because you didn't put it back in the bag that it's supposed to go in? And you can't even get it on your hand, and you got to buy a new one. OJ played that fiddle, and it worked perfectly. He spread his fingers out. And he tried to put this tiny, shrunken-up glove on, and if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Bam.
Amy says, I am still keeping an open mind regarding DNA in his car. I'm thinking defense is very clever doing that on a Friday for everyone to go crazy with it. Meanwhile, I bet DNA was possibly found.
She's exactly right. This is all tactfully planned. So I hold zero credibility to this, zero, because bottom line, none of this. How many pages is this argument?
Damn, Jeff, do you see what Jeff just said?
No.
I've through 3 or 4 account names as they block me over and over. Don't even tell you you're blocked. No opposing ideas allowed.
They flagged you, Jeff.
Damn.
They flagged you, man. The mods are blocking you right away. You're on the hit list, brother. You're a done deal. Might as well forget to go to all these other liberal shows that only see things one way. You know,
Wow.
I'm the first one, and I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm the first one that if I think somebody's innocent and I think there was some bad investigative techniques done, yeah, I'll admit it and I'll say it. And I've said it on this show. There's definitely some bad investigative techniques, but I'm not going to sideline quarterback this whole investigation. You can do that. Everybody can do that. But these guys are professionals, multiple agencies involved. Brian Kohlberger is a done deal. The only thing he can hope for is not to get the death penalty.
He also said, I'm done. Detective John has convinced me. I've unsubscribed to all those channels that blocked me. Done.
Who said that, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff did.
Jeff, you don't have to go in and chat. Go in and creep. I love to creep on those idiots because that's what they are. They're idiots. Actually, they're brilliant because they're making money doing it. They're brilliant. And they're like, it's like I said before, they're like that pile of shit in your yard with all the flies creating maggots all over it. Because that's what they are. They're piles of shit out there on YouTube and whatever other forms.
So when it comes to, like, I mean, I see a lot of people making a big deal over these new documents that dropped.
Let's just saying this is why I can't anymore.
The state's latest filing admits that somewhere within all of this, they engaged in investigative genetic genealogy using the DNA taken from the button on the sheath, and now claims that it was due to the use of this technique that it tipped local law enforcement to investigate Mr. Kohlberger. It remains unclear what the police first relied on in focusing their investigation on Mr. Kohlberger. It says,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. T-REV.
No, it says no matter what came first, the car or the genetic genealogy, the investigation has provided precious little. There is no connection between Mr. Kohlberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Kohlberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. In essence, though the lack of disclosure and their motion to protect the genetic genealogy investigation, the state is hiding its entire case.
There's not a motion to protect. Really, all they're saying is there's case law that supports their decision not to release that information. Period. They don't have to give an explanation. All they have to do is cite the case law, which they did multiple times. There's tons of case law out there to support that. And that's just to make sure, okay, if we go through the genealogy process, that we don't have to go contact everybody within that family tree and subpoena them for, to come in for a deposition to talk about their history within their family. So we can cast doubt if this person was actually adopted. So this must be wrong. It's bullshit, people. It's total bullshit. So I'm going to break it down in the most simple way that I can for everybody out there to understand. It doesn't matter about genealogy.
Before you were talking, you brought politics into it, and that's a very touchy subject when you bring politics into shit. So I see where people are getting on your bumper, saying that's your perspective.
I said I don't want to bring.
You can't define reality for everyone else.
I don't want to bring politics into anything. But anyway,
I'm letting you know the feedback out there.
Because I use the word liberal. Liberal does not mean you're a liberal. It's a philosophy. You have a liberal philosophy about this case because you won't look at the actual evidence. You're liberally saying, okay, here it is. Okay, well, I have doubt now because of this document. That's liberal thinking. That's not using your common sense. That's liberal thinking.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
There's your elaboration for the folks that were commenting back on that. I seen some people had some opinions. I respect it. I respect the opinion. Stop insulting liberals.
What did I just say? I said it's liberal thinking. It's got nothing to do with politics, people. I guess I use
No,
words that,
people. I think people just hold you to a professional level because of what your job title was before you,
right.
Not in the. So people hold. So when they, when they hear you, they hold you to this professional level of not being open like you are now. You get what I'm saying? Some of them don't understand that you're not even a detective no more.
I guess I can't use certain words. I can't use the word liberal because it's automatically it's a political statement, and that's not it at all what I'm saying. So get off that. I don't care. I don't care what people think. I didn't use it in a political way. I just said it's liberal thinking, and that's what it is. So breaking this down, bottom line is they don't need the genetic genealogy process to be divulged to anyone because it doesn't matter. So I'm going to give you just a scenario. Here's a case that I personally worked on. It was a stabbing case in a car. We got DNA off of a knife. It was a pocket knife. We got DNA off of a knife. Okay. There was no other physical evidence within the car. None. We got a little bit of touch DNA on a door. It wasn't enough. We just knew that it was a male. We didn't really have anything to go on. But guess what? We canvassed the community.
What happened to Hollis? Hollis left. Go ahead, keep going.
What happened to the community? We canvassed the community. The community gave us leads, gave us tips, gave us, okay, we think that, somebody said they saw this person get into this person's car. And it was an area in Daytona that was, frequented by male prostitutes. So they saw this person get into this car. So what did that give us? That gave us a lead. So we knew where this person lived. We went and pulled garbage because people don't get this either. Oh, how did they get that without a search warrant? Well, once you pull the garbage to the road and it's out on the easement, it's abandoned property. It's free game.
Right.
Police can go and they can take that and they can start the process without a warrant. They don't need any of that stuff. They don't need a warrant. They can actually wait till the trash guy. They can contact the trash,
Thank you,
guys, and say, hey, when you pull that can, pull it to the other side. We're going to take the bag and take it. Simulate like you dumped it. But anyway, so we went based on a lead, which I believe happened in this very case. We pulled the garbage. We got the guy's DNA. We compared it to the DNA that we had on the knife. Bam. This is the same guy. Went and did an interview. Didn't hook him up right away based on that alone. Went and did an interview, put him in the box, sat him down, said, hey, we're trying to eliminate suspects in this case. We've got, we're interviewing a ton of people. And in a way to do that, we need to get a buccal swab from you, which is, we're just going to do a process where we just go into the side of your cheek and we just take a little bit of your fluid from your cheek onto this Q-tip and we put it in a bag and we send it off for DNA testing. Do you have a problem with that?
What happened, Hollis? What's going on? What's up, Hollis?
No, I'm innocent. I'm innocent, 100%. Okay, well, will you submit to that? Oh, well, I don't know.
An echo.
I don't hear no echo. You're good.
I know, it's me.
Is it? You got your TV on?
Do I have what?
Is your TV on? If you got your computer, your TV on, and your phone or whatever you're using,
can you exit the cloud? I can't. Okay, thank you.
Whoa.
Sorry, T-REV.
Hot heaven.
All right. All right. So let me get back to this. So basically,
hold on. What happened with race? I see a lot of race talk in chat. What did I miss? Did you say something about race?
Nope.
Liberal thinking is because we're liberals. Dog whistle, boo. Shorty
Brought race into it. No, I didn't bring race into it. I said that people want to bring race into it because, unfortunately, we work in some areas that are high crime areas and low income areas. It's not always race related, but it's not always a black and white thing either. Just saying that we're talking about the OJ case, and yes, that was race driven. End of story. I don't care what anybody says.
I say
a
lot of it. Saying the word liberal, I mean, I guess it really does bring politics into it. If you want to look at it that way.
Well, I'm not going to apologize for using the word liberal. It's a word. That's all it is. Look up the definition. So anyway,
it's definitely a political word. I'll give it that. We try to stay away from that shit because that brings up a lot of fucking controversy. You know what I mean? And I respect the people who, you know, there's because if you that's just a thing. If you use the word liberal, that's politics. Political. It's a political term.
Hey, you guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I just point out one simple fact here? There are 740 people watching the stream and only 183 likes, and I know Rev Gang can rev that shit up way better than that. Come on, you guys.
Yeah, hit that like.
Yeah, we got. I mean, but
so
let's get to talking about these documents and everything. I know there's a few guests they want to speak. What's up?
Can I finish this point real quick? So
go ahead.
We put that person in the box, and the box is just a police term of putting somebody in a room, and it's called a box. So we put that person in the box, interviewed them based on a tip that we had, and we had DNA. So we asked him if we could get a buccal swab, and he said yes. So, but if he'd have said no, we'd have got a warrant for it. But he said yes. Took a couple of weeks. We cut him loose.
Yeah.
Kept surveillance on him. Bam. The results came back. We had our guy. End of story. Case closed. That's probably, can't say 100%, but probably what happened here, because I think that somebody or a plethora of people sent leads in based on that car, or perhaps it was his sister, one of his sisters. I don't know. But the DNA, the genetic genealogy does not matter at that point.
Gotcha.
Well, also something else, Detective John, about the genealogy. The thing about it is any one of us as laymen, as commoners, can go on these DNA sites, submit our DNA, and trace our own family trees the same way the FBI traced Brian Kohberger's DNA lineage. Okay, it is not some hidden method they used, and it's not evidence. It's just a simple means of going to the freaking library and learning how to use it.
Yeah, it's a tool. That's all it is.
That's all it is. It's not evidence.
And there's like I said, and it was cited by the prosecution. There's tons of case law supporting it. So to the prosecution, it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. They're not going to win that battle in court. What she's trying to do by saying this stuff is she's going to challenge it, and she's going to try and create her own case law. That's what she's going to try and do. She's going to try and get the judge to agree with her. And this is also setting up an appellate process, because she's going to appeal if she loses, and she's going to challenge it in the appellate courts as well. And she's hoping for some new case law, because in her mind, if she can get that thrown out, she gets the DNA thrown out. That's totally wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if they have a source, which is the knife with the DNA on it, and then they have a lead, which is pointing to Brian Kohberger, and all they do is follow up that lead, and they used that to pull garbage, and they did it that way, that's fine. But bottom line is, once they got that buccal swab, bam, they had enough, just based on what we talked about, to hold him in the PCA. That's enough. Now, once the buccal swab is submitted and comes back and they got him in custody, that's just more evidence. So they're basically saying, we don't need any of that other crap, because we pulled a buccal swab and it matches. End of story.
Detective John, can I say something else? Because I see a lot of people out here not understanding what these legal documents are saying to begin with, and I would just like to clarify something.
I got them on the screen right now too for everybody
Okay.
who's viewing.
The prosecution said they are not going to use the FBI's tip as to how they traced Brian Koberger's DNA. That does not imply whatsoever in any sense, form, fashion. I mean, it just doesn't say it that they are not going to use the DNA from the knife sheath. It simply means they are not going to use that method in the trial. They don't have to, because they did get his DNA through garbology. It was just a tool. They are not bringing it into trial. That
Okay.
is what that says. It does not mean they aren't using the sheath, people. It doesn't.
Right, right.
Seriously.
And here's the thing: the perception is they're not using the sheath. That's what everybody thinks because that's what they want to hear. But
Exactly.
the reality is that's not the case. So if you think for
It's
one
not the
minute
case at all.
that DNA on that sheath is
Oh,
not
I
important,
must have missed that one statement, Avion. He said OJ got off because of Rodney King. Okay, I didn't.
No, OJ got off because of Mark Furman.
yeah. But
I
what
must have
happened
missed
was
that.
during that time, and not to get on that case, but during that time, there was a lot of rioting going on. There was a lot of, you know, there's a lot of anti-police stuff going on, and there are bad cops out there, 100,000%. Seen it, know it, but there's also it's a very small percentage. But
And
anyway,
I
we're
would
not
all
going to go there because apparently that offended somebody, me even bringing it up. But I
No, did he
brought up
say, yeah, I
the
mean,
OJ case because
it,
it
it
brought
offends a
doubt.
good majority of some people, actually. I was surprised to see the amount of comments I've seen on it.
But the majority of that particular case was based on a lot of people wanted OJ to go free, and the glove was pivotal. It just made it look like that glove doesn't fit him, so they must have the wrong guy. Well, that glove really just shrunk. That's all it did.
Detective John, I have a question for you. And this is, I think, a fair question. Do you think that the security guard calling in Brian Koberger's car, I believe it was November the 28th or the 29th, and reporting the white Hyundai Elantra being at the Washington State University was perfect grounds for any and all investigation further into Brian Koberger, because that put him on their radar?
Right, because that's what I said earlier. This is a tip, and I said it would. The security guard from the university was pivotal. If that's actually true, which I believe it is, he's like, hey, we got a white Elantra over here. Let's check this out. It's 8 miles from the university. It's got Pennsylvania tags, blah blah blah, and that's all they needed. That's how police work is done. Everyone, it's not like it's not rocket science. It's really not that hard, But we become so adapt to DNA now,
What's
and
up,
the fact that DNA wasn't in the car, so then we must have quit because it wasn't in the car. It must have been in the car. What did we do 20, 30 years ago on cases? DNA wasn't a factor. DNA is
This
just
is
a tool.
this is
So
what gets this is what gets me about that, Detective John. These people are so ready to jump on the bandwagon of, oh, there was no DNA in Brian Koberger's car. Who gives a flying monkey's ass if there was DNA in the car or not? His DNA was found on a knife sheath, partially under a victim of someone who had sadly lost their lives to being stabbed to death.
Right. And
right,
it shows right here. I mean, I got the documents first page or second page actually pulled up. Factual background: on November 13th, 2022, law enforcement responding to a 911 call found Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin deceased. Law enforcement later found a K-bar knife sheath placed next to Miss Mogan on her bed. The sheath was placed button side down and partially under Miss Mogan in the comforter. On November 20, 2022, the Idaho State Police Lab in Meriden, Idaho, located DNA on the button of the sheath. What's that noise?
What is that popping?
That's Detective John. Something going on over there. Located on the button of the sheath and performed STR analysis that led nowhere when ran through CODIS combined DNA index system. it says other than to show the provider was a male. By December 17th, 2022, lab analysts were aware of 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. To this date, the defense is unaware of what sort of testing, if any, was conducted on these samples other than the STR-DNA profiles. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Koberger. It says, while this is an ongoing police, we're investigating many various possible suspects. Many of them provided DNA. At least one had his DNA, what is that, surreptitiously taken from a discarded cigarette?
Surreptitiously.
Okay, I got you. Many also had their phones taken and downloaded. One area of the investigation hold on, I just lost it. One area of the investigation had to do with the white sedan seen on camera located at 1112 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18th, 2022. By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. Precisely how the police came to believe the car was an Elantra is still unknown. A report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st, 2023 shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction at the wrong time on Ridge Road.
Blah, blah,
page,
blah,
that's
blah,
page
blah,
2.
blah, 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 blah.
Hey,
That's what I hear there.
T-REV. T-REV, I would love if Regina could ask Detective John some of the Hyundai Elantra questions of was it a 2016 he drove?
2015. 2015. Oh, I love you, Holly.
All right,
Detective John, I want you to kind of like try to help us understand what Regina's found out about these Elantras.
Well, I can tell you right now
is that okay?
What people, can you hear me? What people don't realize is there's software out there. So once that photo came across, the grainy photo of the white Elantra, they probably use the software that they have. It's a vehicle identifier, and it works on body lines. You know, all you see is body lines on the car, and it'll categorize that car. It's kind of like latent fingerprints. You have loops and whirls in your fingerprints, and a car is kind of like a fingerprint when it goes by. If it's blurry, then they use software to enhance it, and they can pull up what type of car that was. So I think
right, but that's not
Jeff H did enhance that photo for us because he does video editing. But Regina did something about a tracking system.
Yes,
well, there's a track.
Detective John.
People. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to go in depth with you about what a burglar report is. Most people think that, oh, there was no black box. You guys, I just want everyone to know I've showed all the documents in Discord. I actually took Brian Koberger's license plate number, used that to obtain the VIN number on his car, and looked up the manufacturer's specific trim package on that car, and every data sensor, every electronic device, every code reader. I have done all of the work and looked up everything on his car. Brian Koberger's car was equipped with a high quality hold on a second, I'm having a brain fart.
It has a GPS in the car.
Also. No.
A little bit more than that.
Yeah, it has more than that.
No. What I'm saying is the car does have a GPS system. Correct?
And when I called headquarters and spoke to an engineer at Hyundai and asked him about all of that, I mean, I had to go through a lot of channels before they finally told me, we don't tell our buyers that because it has to do with law enforcement, the FBI, and insurance claims on accidents. And I said, so you mean like crimes? And he goes, yeah. But I couldn't get them on the phone to admit it. All I could get them to do was read the manual.
Excuse me.
That
Okay.
which was it was in there. But anyway, go ahead, Regina.
I'm talking about the Burglar report, Detective John.
Yeah, the burglar report is like the black box. That's what it
Yes,
is.
but most people are assuming, because what they don't tell you is that the black box actually records more than 15 to 30 seconds. They only do that the 15 to 30 minute snap window that an EDR recorder records is for the purpose of having an immediate, easy to find report on the time during the collision. However, our Brian Koberger's car specifically was equipped with an EDR that recorded over 700 hours of drive time data down to, it will tell you when he opened his car door, at what time. It tells you how fast he was going, at what speed he was going, how far he went at that speed, whether he idled for 15 seconds or not. I mean, you can literally take this report and lay it out over a GPS map and tell where that person went, how long they were there, and everything within 3 feet.
Right.
And let me tell you what.
Shelly said no one cares enough about BK to set him up, in my opinion.
That's what
Bingo.
I think. And here's the
Applaud
other thing. When I was speaking with headquarters, I asked the guy, I said, is this something? No, it wasn't headquarters. I was speaking to a dealership here in town. And he says, well, we don't really disclose that when we're selling the cars because we don't want to know. We don't want a lot of people to know that that's, in their cars. And I was like, why? And he was that was the first thing I called was a dealership. And I was like, well, why not? And he goes, well, privacy, police, it's just a whole thing.
Well,
And then that was that.
here's the thing about
So I don't think he knew
that.
he had it.
Here's the thing about that. No, a lot of people don't. But the Murdaugh case is a prime example of that.
Bingo.
If you want to see some great investigative work being done, watch some of that case surrounding.
This is a good question right here. There are 3
Well,
other
that's what I was
DNA
saying.
specimens. Why disqualify one and not another?
Because that DNA wasn't on a knife sheath. That's a party house. There's going to be people's DNA all over there, and that's going to be their main defense. There's going to be DNA all over that house. So that's
not only that, but that DNA, if I'm not mistaken, was found outside the home.
Right.
So anybody can walk up to your door, knock on it, and touch your doorknob and leave their DNA.
Right.
I think
the driver that delivered the food.
Now we do got to take into account that this is from the defense, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this is their job.
I'm asking specifically. I want to get this clear to the audience.
There are 3 other DNA specimens.
So the DNA specimens. There's going to be other DNA in that house. Period.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
That's going to be their whole defense. That someone else did it. So they're trying to cast out.
Are we saying that? Are we so? All right, I'm asking here because this case is crazy, right? This case is super crazy. I want to ask this because it comes to my mind. I want to know specifically. All right, so the defense, you're telling me the defense could just write and put anything in these documents?
They can.
Absolutely.
100%.
And who says they're disqualifying one and not another? Who says that anyway? If they do, it may be because, like I've said before, that single source DNA on that snap, they're going to try to argue that was sold, that was left there, that was planted. I think what they'll roll with is the DNA on the victims, where, Xana may have his hair in her hand. Kaylee and Maddie might have sweat on their body or on whatever they were wearing. I think it's best probably, honestly, to keep it very simple for the jury. And I think touch DNA, one single source DNA, will make it very complicated and confusing if that's the only DNA of his. Like Detective John said the other night, that woman saying, well, her husband put oils on his knife sheath.
I personally think that we don't know everything that the prosecution has yet. Like,
no, we don't know.
The prosecution and the defense is boxing right now.
Yeah, and that's what this is.
I'll tell you this much, T-REV. If the prosecution doesn't have a burglar report that pinpoints Brian Koberger being in that driveway during the time of those homicides, I will eat my socks live on your channel.
Yeah, my thing is though with this, I mean, there's other profiles of DNA. There's no match to those other profiles of DNA, and those persons haven't been questioned. That's what's insinuated in these documents. If that's so, we need to know who these people were.
Well,
remember they had a party the night before. They all
remember this is justice for the fucking victims at the end of the day, right? This is justice for the victims. This isn't about pinning it on nobody. This is about getting it right. Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if there really is other DNA profiles around there that was, suspicious, then they need to verify, collect, and run some shit.
I agree. 100%.
That's just my personal opinion when it comes to my heart. Because then, if you collected some type of evidence and there was DNA profiles on the evidence, and you didn't find out who those people were,
but T-REV,
and I feel like that leaves that leaves a mess out there.
Right, but remember the police footage of them coming up for noise complaints and the owners weren't there, and how many people were always partying in that house? It's like I believe there was a football game that night. They had the previous night, and I remember they had like a party the previous night, and they had spent the morning cleaning everything up in the apartment as a group, and then later that evening, Xana and Ethan went to the frat party, and Kaylee and Maddie went to the corner club. So I bet there's people there. It could very well be, randos out there that just came into that party, but I would definitely want them to be able to identify those people. I mean, they're definitely not criminals as of yet, because there's nothing to match them to anything.
Right.
But it might be hard to find. I would think they would have to.
So let's go back to the car, since we didn't finish up on that real quick. So
back up here again, because I've seen the documents. I glanced at them, and I want to look at that apart again, because it says to this date the defense is unaware. So it says they says there's other DNA profiles. So it said they got the one to that white truck, correct, or something about the white truck. And now I'm thinking in my head about the other DNA profiles that didn't connect back to Koberger. They're insinuating. I want to see more of that.
Yeah,
I want to hear about more of that. I want to see more detail on this. I'm interested.
Totally normal. All this is totally normal, everyone. This is totally normal. It's a fish finding, doubt casting document. That's all it is.
Okay, this is a testimony.
You're sideways and you're echoing.
This is a testimony to what the defense is doing at this time. Whenever the defense decided it was going to subpoena Bethany Funk because she had exonerating evidence on Brian Koberger, what happened with it? It was what? It was a fishing expedition. Where did it go? Oh yeah, nowhere. Let that be a testimony to what these documents that have been dropped right now are saying, because the same rule applies. It's the same person filing these motions.
And they're insinuating that there's 3 other DNA profiles that weren't confirmed, and if I'm remembering correctly.
But that DNA wasn't pulled off of the knife sheath snap.
No, I get that part. But what were they collected off of? You know what I'm saying?
There's going to be
a refrigerator handle, window.
There's going to be a ton of DNA that they're going to throw out there.
I mean, the house was a cesspool of DNA. There was parties there all the time. We know that, right? But it was suspicious. I'm saying, if it was in suspicious locations, that's what I just don't know much. It's my first hearing it from that, and I've looked at it.
On the outside of it.
I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like, what are those 3 other profiles? Who are those people? Can those people be corroborated, and they can just run their shit and get rid of it? You know what I mean? Run them and loosen that up. That's what I'm saying. Those ties got to be tied up, because the defense is making sure of that, and this is their job. Obviously, it's the defense's job to make sure that everything is done thoroughly. But we definitely would want to know these 3 other profiles that are, allegedly.
Cast out,
Like, I'm sure they did Jack D and Jake, and most of their close knit friends, I'm sure, had no problem giving them their DNA and whatnot.
the key thing
You
is
guys,
cast out. That's all.
what we also have to take into account is just because we haven't seen the evidence that they used the same genealogical methods to find Brian Koberger on those same 3 unidentified male victims doesn't mean they haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
It's process.
Do you see what I'm saying? Exactly.
That part catches my attention when you talk about, because DNA speaks loud to me. When you talk about when I see it even being spoke about, I don't care defense or not. DNA speaks volumes to me, and that DNA on that sheet speaks volumes to me. And this other, if there is 3 other unknown, like what's up with that? Why aren't those? What did they say? Cross your I's, dot your T's.
Yeah,
well, they're probably not going to be in CODIS. Which if they're not in CODIS, then they're unknowns. But
remember, I want the victims to get the proper justice they deserve. We need no holes to be open here.
Right.
Yes, I agree, T-REV. I agree.
I do too.
Here's the key phrase in the legal world in a trial: reasonable suspicion. So you can use this document, for the jury to review and hit on all these points, but it really comes down to, is it reasonable suspicion? Is there anything in that document that's going to dispel what evidence we do have? And there's nothing in this document that's going to dispel or discredit any of the evidence that I've seen thus far that they do have. So none of this is going to deny the fact that snap on that sheath contained Brian Kohlberger's DNA. End of story. It's not going to happen. The only thing that they can pray to do is get that sheath somehow in a suppression hearing. They're going to try and get that sheath thrown out.
Well, the only thing I can find of validation in this new document dropped by the defense is the probability of Ann Taylor getting reprimanded by a judge.
Right. She's gonna. It's called admonish. She's gonna be admonished by the court.
Oh yes.
If she's not admonished by the court for this document alone, then that judge is just kind of letting it go. Because I can tell you right now, the judges that I know would admonish her for this based on the gag order alone. So she violated the gag order here, even though she went in a roundabout way to do it. She did it. So I'm sure that the prosecution's going to try and get her spanked on that, but it's out there now. So, and she did it on a Friday for a reason.
Yeah, she did.
Part of the reason is she can get it out there.
So closed on weekend.
Yeah, she can't be spanked. Why didn't she do it on Wednesday, Thursday, Monday?
Because it's typical lawyer tactics. Throw it out. Yeah. 4:59 on a Friday.
It's dirty. It's
very dirty.
And look what's happening right now. All these shows are jumping up and down on this one document. And guess what? The prosecution hasn't had time to review it and respond. So we've got all this time, the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, before anything comes back, any kind of response. So
well, not only that, but
she's brilliant.
Well, not only that, but she's also hoping that come Monday, people might forget that she dropped this document, no matter what the prosecution's rebuttal is. She's putting this out there to stew in people's minds, is what she's doing.
That's exactly what I just said. You just said the same exact thing, just a different way.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm agreeing with you absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically
Papa
to me,
Sal.
Papa Sal. I see you down there in the corner, but you're covered up, buddy.
Am I?
Yeah, that's not your fault. There's nothing we can do about it.
I'm fucking dizzy.
Yeah.
Papa Sal.
Yeah, what's going on, Papa Sal? What's up? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, how the fuck do I get on the show?
You're here.
I'm here.
I see.
You're here.
Oh, you're not. You're in bed still. You need to wake up.
Okay.
You're dreaming.
I needed an invitation to come on, or what?
Yeah, that's how you got here. Hey, real quick, somebody said I was biased. I admit that I'm biased. I've worked in the field, So I'm always going to lean toward the evidence. I do have an open mind, but I'm going to lead toward the evidence. And my background can settle that up.
Everything says he did it. And he's got that, what is it, gazillion or Brazilian fucking thing on the sheet that it could only be one person, him. Only be him.
I forget how many zeros that is. Is it like 19 or 20?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't know.
How do you get out of that? How do you get out of that? You know,
right?
You're the fucking guy that did it. That's all there is.
T-REV, can I say something real quick? I would just like to address something, if I might.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All these people that come up in here and chat, all these people that were coming up in the lives, arguing with me, telling me I was wrong, I didn't know what I was talking about, this, that, or the other. Let me explain something to y'all. There was a grand jury that was in session. They did indict Brian Koberger.
That's right.
Bethany Funk's little subpoena fiasco was nothing but a fishing expedition.
Exactly. That was stupid.
Facts. Facts.
It's all.
And here's one a little more that's probably going to blow a few minds that are out there. Well, if they have mind to be blown. But anyways, I also 3 weeks before they arrested Brian Koberger, knew and put it in chat, and the receipts are there to prove it, told them the day they were going to make an arrest on this case. The Friday after Christmas, we would know who it was.
As soon as the chief got on there with that one interview, I called T-REV personally. I said, dude, wait till you see this. I'm telling you right now, there's pep in his step. They know who this is, and they're about to make an arrest because his demeanor totally changed.
And all the evidence caused the grand jury to indict him. So,
yep.
What are you going to do?
Who says the cops didn't bother to try to identify the other DNA profiles?
Exactly. Who says they didn't? They're just casting.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Detective John, this has been bugging me to death. In the search warrant for his place in Pullman, Washington, they wrote somewhere, I don't know where it was, but it was, it was after they entered. Somewhere along the line it said there was no shower curtain. And then I asked Elena about it, if he had a bathtub. And she actually looked it up and found a photo of the shower, and it's like it's just a shower, the one that you kind of step over a little like 1-inch rim of.
Right.
So if his shower curtain was missing, and I believe he stripped straight down, outside or inside, I don't know, it doesn't matter to me, wrap that up all in the shower curtain because it's non-porous. It's not going to leak blood. And I think when he drove that long route after the crimes, I think he pulled over somewhere, got a little gasoline, hit the lighter to it, and everything he was wearing was basically just, he burned it all because his shower curtain was missing.
I agree. But
why was also explain why you don't have a shower curtain?
Well,
he's tall. He's not sitting in the bathtub. It's very uncomfortable.
Here's the thing about that, and the defense will say there's a lot of step-in showers that don't have curtains. My step-in shower in my master bath doesn't have a curtain. It's
That's
huge.
fine, Detective John. I understand that.
I'm just saying what the defense is going to say.
I know, but take a picture. But then take a picture of the floor of the bathroom where that shower is, and you prove to me that there's water damage and that he never had a shower curtain. If that floor is nice and pristine and well unwater damaged, he had a freaking shower curtain.
Well, don't forget that he's not the only one that's lived in there. I'm just going from a defensive standpoint too. So, I mean, he's not the only person that's lived there. It's kind of a dorm. It's a dorm location, from what I believe.
But why would you not have a shower curtain? I mean,
well, like I just said, you don't know the size of that shower. My shower and my master doesn't have a curtain. It's just a step-in area. I've got 2 shower heads on either side, but I don't have a shower.
But you live in a house. He lived in an apartment complex. Most apartment complexes, they've got just a shoddy rail with a shower curtain.
Yeah, they have those PVC plastic or whatever they're made out of.
Yeah, they don't have the
Inserts
knee
too.
walls and the glass doors.
Yeah, it probably
You know,
didn't have
none of that.
grout. It was probably just a cheap shower. But who knows? I believe that if he thought about it, he could have taken that shower curtain and laid it over, the inside of the car when he got over to lay on top of the seats. So when he got in, he didn't touch anything in the car, and he just did all, like everybody said. He probably disposed of his clothes, shoes, all kinds of stuff in that curtain, and got rid of it.
Yeah. If
But
he was smart
here's
enough,
and here's the thing too.
if he was smart enough, he would have brought it in with him, put it on the kitchen counter. And I think this is why maybe they're swabbing in the kitchen so much. I think he flipped it out when he was done, stepped right in the center of it, stripped down naked, got out of it, wrapped it up, and left. And I think there might not be anything in that.
Now, this part right here where it says where it's talking about, it says again, by December 17, 2022, the lab analysts were aware of 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence. I wonder if that was the glove found by
the garbage can.
No, the
backyard.
No. There's a YouTube channel. The guy went to the scene and seen the glove, but I don't know if that's what he's talking. If that's
it was outside near the mailbox in the trash.
But what I'm saying in general is, though, they're insinuating here. They're saying that there's basically 3 unknown profiles.
Yeah, but they think that glove was used by EMS. And
no,
EMS...
there was a glove. You guys, I remember seeing the footage of a day after or a day or 2 after. I'm not sure.
You're right, Hollis, but they already ruled that glove DNA out. They ruled that glove out.
Yeah, it had snowed, so you could find, and that's when I kept asking T, where's the blood trail? Like, you would see a blood trail if there's snow. I don't get it. But that's when I came up with, finally, that's what made sense to me, that he stripped in that shower curtain, wrapped it up, and left. But anyway, they were showing from the back of the house where what I believe is where we all think he stalked them from, to Maddie's window. Back there, I know the police, there was a shot of a black glove sitting in the snow, just laying there like randomly. But it honestly looked like something that had been there for a very long time, not something that had just been, quote unquote, just left. So if that's the case, I can totally see how that's DNA that they found on a glove outside of the house that could have been left there, who knows, a year and a half ago. It's that woody area.
I would love to hear I would love to hear the response from the prosecution side on these 3.
Oh, it's coming.
No. I can't wait to see what they say, because I mean, to put out there broadly, there's 3, suspects or 2 by the victim.
Can I ask a question? Going back to the shower. Is there a shower rod in that shower? Does anybody see a rod in that picture?
If Delena's around, Delena, please come up here. She has everything.
No.
If there's a rod up there, then there was.
It's good to ask questions.
If there wasn't, then it was probably a shower, like Detective John is saying. It's a step in.
Hey, Hollis.
All I know, it was enough for them to put it in the documentation that the shower curtain was missing. And I think if it was one of those, there would have been no reason to put it in there.
Yeah,
right. I'm just. The only thing I was pointing out was that's what the defense is going to say. They're going to downplay that shower curtain. I believe 100% there was a shower curtain, but I'm playing devil's advocate here. That's all.
Hey, Hollis, I want to.
That's the stuff that always messes these like tweaked out brained criminal serial killers who love to do this shit. It's stupid shit that gets them caught.
Yes.
Like I went out to take a piss when he decided to fly away. That cat went out and took a piss on Queen Road and activated the motion sensors of the person's home whose camera faced that exact road back there by the parking lot.
That's what I'm saying.
I will always tell you, T-REV, it's the cat that caught the mouse. That cat that took that, went to the bathroom, That's what they have him on camera leaving.
That's what I'm saying. If it caught the cat, wouldn't it catch the car of the DoorDash driver going into the parking lot?
Well, Papa Sal, I think it did.
Bing bong.
Yeah, we don't know
They
that.
said
We
they
don't know
had,
that that
yeah,
didn't
there was
happen.
a big story about a guy who turned over his footage because it showed that white Elantra driving past his home, and he said, my cat
that.
goes out at night to take a piss
Small.
every night in the front yard, and it always activates the camera. And that was the exact time that camera got activated. And I told T-REV, the cat has caught the mouse on camera, and a lot of people don't know that.
Isn't
Bing
that
bong.
crazy?
I'm going to stick to that until the day I die.
Isn't that crazy that at 4 o'clock the cat kicked off the camera? At 4 o'clock, the DoorDash driver came to the house. At 4 o'clock, this guy goes in and kills everybody. I mean, fuck.
Well, yeah, I'll give you one better. What are the chances that the police have an encounter in a lot about 70 or 80 yards away, where he's catching body cam of the house, and there's a car driving back there in the background up on that hill at that time? Crazy stuff, right? What are the chances of that?
That's what I think. I mean, people always think criminals are so smart and like, you know, they don't understand. Some people are like, well, why would you drive all the way that route to go home, you know, if you just committed a crime? It's like, you know, there is no smart criminal. You will eventually get caught. And you will usually get caught by the stupidest stuff sometimes. If you think this out very well, like Ted Bundy did, like all of those really good serial killers who went on for 20 to 30 years. Thank God they caught him now. I feel safer that he's in jail. And like I asked those people on Dago's panel, would you allow him to spend the night at your house? Not a single one of them answered me in a proper, intelligent manner. I was blown off, and that's not acceptable.
Here's one for you. What people out here do not understand that are so willing to dismiss this DNA evidence.
I haven't seen that butterfly.
It is those people. It is those people that are going to have blood on their hands whenever this man goes free and kills somebody else's kids or grandmother.
He's not going.
Well, he's not going free, Regina. You and I know that. We all know that.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask something. Let me tell you something. I still think that this guy circled the house the 3 or 4 times he did to work up the nerve. I also think that for him to go off the trail the way he did, he was probably all jacked up.
I agree with you, Papa.
Couldn't believe what the fuck he just did.
He was hot off that.
Instead of going straight home, this guy took the long way home and just started thinking about what the hell he did.
It says it right here. Haters gonna hate.
I don't care if haters hate. I'm saying right now he's guilty. And
no. I'm talking to the.
He's still guilty.
She commented. She was asking, did the document say where they found the other DNA? Yeah, it says that right here. What it says, by December 17th, lab analysts were aware of 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. That's what it said.
Wait, can you read that again, T-REV? I'm sorry.
Yeah, do it again.
By December 17th, 2022, lab analysts were aware of 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 2022.
I believe that footage.
All right. Now,
the defense is unaware of what sort of testing, if any, was conducted on these samples. So they're basically saying they don't know if any tests were conducted on the samples.
T-REV. Read that again. Listen, you guys, listen to what they're saying again. They're trying to word it in a way that makes us think they have 3 individual unknown DNAs, right, but they actually only have 1 male DNA that's unaccounted for. Listen to that again. 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located. Okay, comma. That's 1 set of DNA samples.
Yeah.
But there were people in the house. There were other people in the house. There was a party of 100.
Right, but wait a minute. They've ruled those people out. They've ruled those people out. They've ruled those people out. Those 2 additional male DNAs have been accounted for. If you'll read this document, it's telling you. Okay. Comma and an unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence. That is the only unknown male DNA sample, and it was found outside the residence. And if you'll remember, that was found on the ground. And let me explain something to y'all. Whenever the garbage men pick up my trash, they always wear gloves.
Regina, your mic is loud as shit.
Holy crap!
Super loud.
Yeah, but let's hit on that glove for a minute. This is the glove that I saw that they made.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm so sorry. I got a brand new headset, you guys. Let me try to fix it.
Let me finish.
Yeah, it's very loud.
Let me fix it real quick, T-REV. I got it. Let me mute myself and fix it, love.
I got scared. I was like, damn, Regina had bass in it. I thought you were making a beat.
It was a black latex glove that EMS probably discarded. I believe that they determined that EMS discarded that glove. So that's just more casting doubt. If that's the glove that they showed that they made a big deal out of, it was laying out front and it was a black latex glove. It's exactly what EMS wears.
I'm looking for the footage of it from that date. If I can.
It wasn't a leather glove. It looked like a leather glove outside.
No, it was a black latex glove.
It looked like just a black kind of glove that kind of cinched at where your wrist would cinch, and then had a little bit more to it that kind of like, puffered out. And then I thought it was in the back of where the woods were, in the back of their house towards the lower balcony area, but really kind of buried in the, what I would call, from being down south.
Could be. I'm just going by what I saw. I know that was the one out front. I don't know if that's the one they're talking about or not. But here it is. If they didn't test that glove for whatever reason, and they didn't determine where that glove came from, here's more of them casting doubt, kind of like what we talked about that the glove doesn't fit. It's just casting doubt. But to me,
I can't deal with that anymore.
To me, this freaking document, and this is just me, is nothing but just a tool that they use to put out there on a Friday to get us all talking about it and have people jump up and down that he's innocent. In my opinion, and pardon the comparison, it's butt wipe to me. It's nothing. Crumble it up, Sal. Crumble it up and wipe your ass with it, because it's nothing. Nothing.
Just crumble it up and wipe your ass with it. 16 people on a jury, right? Says Jeff.
You want me to wipe my ass with it? Yo, Johnny. My friend.
Dang, I'm dead.
Or use it as kindling, whatever you want to do.
Right. Sorry about that. Back to that, what I was saying, you guys, is this document is clearly explaining that there were 2 male DNAs found inside the residence that have obviously been identified and probably ruled out, because there's a comma. You got to take this document for what it's saying, and then it says, and an unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. So
she's right, because if you see the very first sentence says, by December 17th, 2022, lab analysts were aware. They're aware of the 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located. They're aware of that.
And they were ruled out. They were ruled out, right?
Exactly.
Yes, that's exactly what that is saying. They were ruled out.
And then it says, comma, and then it says, and this is how I read my legal documents, but another unknown male DNA was found on the glove outside. So there's only that one unknown male DNA outside of the residence.
Which I promise you guys, if I walk outside my residence right now and go anywhere near the side of my road, I will be able to find someone else's trash with their DNA on it. Period. Period.
Well, since you brought
think about that for a second.
Since you brought that up, what did surveillance yield about BK when he took the trash out? Where did he go?
Well, let me tell you this. I just pulled up this article by KTVB7, And check this out. Pullman, Washington. When was this published? January 18th, 2023.
Thank you, Watt.
Police found a black glove. That means one glove, one black glove, a stained pillow, and collected some samples of dark red spots from the Idaho murder suspect's Pullman, Washington apartment search warrant show. So he had one glove. I don't know where the other glove is, but it's obviously not his glove that was left outside. It's somebody else's glove.
Right. But
Exactly.
back to the one thing that they did point out. When he was taking garbage out, where did he take the garbage?
Neighbors.
To the other neighbor's house.
People are forgetting that.
Right? Where did the shower curtain go?
I haven't. My neighbors would be so mad if I put my garbage
Where
in
did the
there.
shower curtain go? Did he wear it?
Well,
No.
here's the thing too.
You guys,
so and this is what we can.
I've also looked up the laws about that garbage being put in neighbors' garbage cans. The penalty for putting your garbage in someone else's trash can is a higher penalty than going over in the weight volume of your trash.
Well, just add that onto his counts, because that's what he's
Hey, look.
I would just like to say that because I know there's people going to argue
I would
that.
like to say this. We know that right now. I mean, as of right now, they got a guy for me.
Exactly, King Scarlet News.
And I'm putting it this way: they got a guy. But I want to know about these 3 other, DNA profiles. I want to know if it's bullshit or what. I want to know answers on those.
Well, we're not going to know.
So
that
I
right
think
now.
the 2 other the lab analysis were aware of 2 additional males' DNA. I think that's probably Jack and Jake's.
We want more. We want more.
I
We
think
want to hear
that's
more.
Jack and Jake's. I think those are probably a match to Jack and Jake's.
Sure.
And then probably the glove is some rando. We don't know, because the glove that they found in his apartment, we don't know if that matches this glove. And obviously they don't know the DNA of the glove. So it obviously doesn't match his black glove. And, just because he has a black glove in his apartment, I'm just going to say it doesn't mean that he was wearing it to commit a crime.
Right.
There may find nothing on the black glove on his apartment. It doesn't mean that it matched the unknown male DNA, because they know his DNA.
Hey, T-REV.
So yes, there is an unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence. But from what I remember, it was just a nothing burger. You know why we only saw it? Because it popped out after it snowed. Like when we were seeing all that footage around the whole 1122 King Road after it had snowed, I specifically remembering all day watching this footage where a black glove they would zoom in on, and it was literally, it had leaves and it had debris over it. It was an old glove. It had been there.
You're exactly right.
There you go.
You're exactly right. I remember it too. 100.
Exactly.
You're absolutely 100%. And I
Exactly.
don't know if Zoe is in here in chat, but she has actually practiced criminal law. And Zoe, if you're in here, could you please verify what I'm saying in this document in the way I'm reading it? If you're in here, dear, she's awesome, you guys.
Here's something I want
Zoe.
to point out too from chat. After the show yesterday, T-REV, I sent you a message. I don't know if you had time to review it, but there's a fan in chat that sent a long, response, and she said that she works in a restaurant. That I believe 2 weeks later, the FBI came and interviewed her, and she wanted to because she knows Xana, and one of the girls, not Xana, one of the survivors. I can't remember which one she said. But she's known her since she was a little girl. She's a 30-something-year-old lady that works in a restaurant. BK came into her restaurant wearing gloves after the homicides, and he's been in. That wasn't typical of him to do, according to other statements. But the FBI actually went there and interviewed people in the restaurant, and I believe they pulled video footage too.
He was also wearing gloves at Walmart. He went to Walmart.
If you could find that in chat, that'd be something that you might. I sent her a message and asked if she would be willing to come on the show, but I didn't look to see if she responded. But I sent it to you last night.
I would also like to point out for everyone in chat saying, oh, they don't have any evidence against Brian Kohberger. Can I just explain to you how much data 51 terabytes of data is? That is over 2 25,000 hours of DVD high quality video data.
250,000 movies. Somebody provided that
That's
to
a
us
lot.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It is so much data. And you know what, you guys that are saying, oh, that's exonerating evidence, you're absolutely right. Any evidence that can help the defense is going to be in that evidence. But Bill Thompson is not an attorney that is going to take on a murder trial and try to convict someone unless he himself, who is a democratic constitutionalist, is not going to convict this man unless he is convinced that this man is guilty by the evidence.
I don't know about that.
I do.
I don't know. I don't know about that. We've got Democrat prosecution, people here that were
Well,
Democrats.
not just on the fact that he is a Democrat, Detective John, but I'm telling you, he is a constitutionalist. If anybody is going to present a defense case alongside of the prosecutorial case of Brian Kohberger, it is going to be the person prosecuting it right now.
Yeah, I
So
don't see him
girl
not
says,
going after the death penalty unless
Midwest girl says was told
BK
BK wouldn't do it. He has a PhD in criminology and criminal justice. Ted Bundy had a bachelor's degree in psychology and killed how many people? I know it's not really important, but
and he was pre-law.
Oh no, that's an excellent point.
Aaron H, yes, I'm positive they took samples of DNA from Jack and Jake. Why would they not? I mean, yes, and I'm sure they gave it to them willingly. Just
Absolutely.
To clear no
I
doubt.
agree with that.
I would have given my DNA if I was Jack in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
I'm sure when they interrogate anybody, even Dylan and Bethany gave their DNA. Guarantee you.
Well,
willingly.
And let me just say this. I personally questioned Jack, and I personally questioned Adam and everything else in the beginning.
Oh, me too.
But I had to go back.
Too.
I literally had to go back whenever that was said and done and personally apologize to those people on Facebook and stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
I did.
well, that's a good point. She said, I'm sorry in advance if I offend anyone. Spencer B says, if I offend anyone, but I don't see in today's world how Democrat and constitutionalists can go in the same sentence.
That's, you know what?
Yeah, Johnny, try not to use the word Democrat or Republican because
I didn't this time.
They're going to slam you.
Okay, I would just like. Can I please?
But that's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to say.
I'm just going to interrupt right now. I have
to interrupt.
Go ahead. I have to interrupt. Annie Potts, when you say it's not 51 terabytes of evidence, I would like to inform you it's 51 terabytes of information that they retrieved. Within that 51 terabytes is evidence. It doesn't say it equals 51 terabytes. They have collected 51 terabytes of his BS on Instagram. Yeah. But on his Instagram, and everything, you know what I'm saying? But on his Instagram, they could have collected, let's say, like 0.25 terabytes. I don't know what I'm not good at measurements, but only 5% of that could have been about Maddie and Kaylee. So you are very incorrect in saying in chat and very misleading when you say it's not 51 terabytes of evidence. It's 51 terabytes that was retrieved from Kohberger, that within that 51 terabytes will be evidence. Mm-hmm. Please stop misinformation. Please stop defending Kohberger or whatever you're doing. Are you being a defense attorney? Whatever you're trying to do, stop misleading the wordage of stuff.
Well, let's keep in mind what channel she's always on. She's always on the other channels that are in one direction.
Go away.
Angie Thomas says, explain what the PA or what the Pennsylvania police walked in on at 4 a.m. What did they walk in on at 4 a.m.?
I I heard they were sick. The cops walked in and seen that carnage and everything. They were
and yeah, explain what the PA police walked in on at 4 a.m. Pennsylvania police.
Yeah,
that was the search warrant. That's when they did the search warrant on the house. Didn't someone say? And
no. Wait a minute. That was
wasn't he in the kitchen? Wasn't he in the kitchen?
I think that's what he's talking about, Detective John. I think that's exactly what he's talking about him being in the kitchen at 4 a.m. with gloves on, separating his trash out into little Ziploc bags.
Right. He was in the kitchen doing what you just said, which is odd, but it's not.
It's not. It doesn't make him guilty though. But it's awfully freaking suspicious. I'm just saying.
That's not something that's earth shattering. And
he was putting them in plastic bags. He was putting them in
Ziploc baggies, to be precise, is what I remember.
What the hell is that about? Who does that?
He's trying to keep garbology from happening. That's what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was pulled over twice. You got to remember, that guy was pulled over twice in Indiana within like an hour or whatever it was. And he was freaking out. He was freaking out at that point. So he knows what police do.
His sister had questions about him.
That's why I believe his sister did have questions, because the way he was acting was totally unusual.
Annie, that's not tolerated in this chat. One more strike and you're out.
Let's see.
No, don't kick Annie out, because that's what they want.
I don't care about Annie. Keep her in. Keep her in. I don't care.
No. You guys, she's going next level on it. She's going next level on it. We don't allow other people to do it. We kick them. Why should we treat her any differently?
Well, I don't even know what she's saying, because I really don't even watch her in chat.
Yeah, I can't.
But I saw that one thing and I'm sick of it. So I don't really care what she's saying. As
Yeah,
long
I don't
as she's
care.
not threatening me, I don't really
let
care.
her in here. We're not going to be like the other shows and just kick
Yeah,
somebody out
exactly.
because they
Don't
don't
kick her
like
for
what
her
they say.
opinion.
Wait, but that's
Put her
not
on
what
the
she's.
panel.
That's not what she's doing.
Put her on the
I'm
panel.
just saying, if anyone was saying the kind of thing,
Whoa.
kick them out.
You're breaking up.
You sound like a dick. You sound like what? You sound like R2D2, Regina.
Yeah, say that again, Regina.
I'm just saying, why should we make it an exception for anyone? Because if it was anybody else coming in our chat saying those kind of things, we would have already banned them, you guys. Why should we make an exception?
You know what? I would love for her to come on panel.
That's what I said. Put her on panel.
Bring her on
the panel.
Bring it. Don't sing it. Let's go.
Well, you know what? I did tell her. I did troll her and tell her that she could totally was invited on panel, and she fled the live she was in. So
you know what, T-REV?
Bring her up. I don't care.
Come on, Annie.
Bring her
you know
up.
what? You know what, T-REV? T-REV, screw it. Put her on panel. I ain't ate enough trolls today.
Let's go.
Come on.
Put her on panel. I'm still hungry.
This is what this show will do that no other will. They'll be a little more open-minded and listen to everybody without giving them a boot.
Put Sleuthy Goosey. Since she thinks BK was the DoorDash driver, put Sleuthy Goosey up there.
No,
damn.
Did anyone else see the video that I saw?
I really don't care.
Did anyone else see the video that I saw that when they went to the Jack in the Box and they interviewed the staff, that they pointed out that the DoorDash driver, they identified him and everything, and said that he's no longer doing DoorDash because he was not delivering orders and he was eating the food?
I would have quit too. I would have fucking quit too.
Fake.
4 o'clock, everybody got slaughtered, and I'm
sure that DoorDash driver was identified.
Yes.
I mean,
pretty easy to do.
Yes, the DoorDash driver has been identified. The DoorDash driver has been interviewed. The DoorDash driver was in protective custody until Brian Koberger was arrested.
Exactly.
End of story. Yeah. She will be at trial to state what vehicle she drove, what time she arrived, he or she, when they dropped the DoorDash off, and when they walked away. She may have rang the bell. She may have knocked on the door. Her DNA may be on the front door where they tagged it. Who knows? But yes, that is a done deal, people.
Now, but they won't get off of it.
It was solo, and he used the most horrendous way in the world to attack these poor victims in the middle of the night, in the bed, in their homes, where they thought they were safe. He's a
not only that,
fuck. And would you let him spend the week with you overnight in your house? Nobody answered.
Oh,
Check
wait a
this
second.
out, Hollis.
Wait a
Check this
second.
out.
Hey,
Here's one that's
Daniel.
really going to blow your fucking mind. If you
Daniel
really
did
read,
answer you. Daniel did answer you. Daniel said no because I think he's guilty. But I don't.
No, I was fine with Daniel's
I don't
answer.
invite. Yeah, he did. If you go
I
back and
was
watch it,
fine
he
with
did.
Daniel's answer.
Yeah,
But I wanted
he
to
said
hear.
no.
I asked the panel when I
Right.
send a super chat and ask a question. If I'm going to ask one person, I will put that first. I will
Right.
say, Dago, comma, what do you think? I said to the entire panel, my question was, would you allow him to come stay at your house with your family over the weekend?
Yeah, and he was
Daniel
sucking that chair up
laughed and
his
said,
ass because his butt cheeks were
Daniel
puckering up.
laughed and said, he's guilty. No, I wouldn't let anybody stay at my house. And the
For the
other two
record.
douchebags said it too. So I spent another $5. And my second chat said in capital letters, hypothetically, comma. No, it started seriously, comma. Hypothetically, comma. Would you allow Brian Kober to come spend the weekend at your house with your family? You know Brian Kober enough to be able to make that decision.
Right.
And they blew it off, and I was pissed.
What's going on, buddy?
Makota, you're
The
right. It's
question was
intense.
not answered. I was not in chat raising hell. I wanted a valid answer from that CJ Cat and Dago because Daniel answered the question.
Right.
Hollis,
He did.
you're
And then they
He
made
said,
he made $50 off me anyway in refunds. So whatever.
right.
Plus
That's
my
funny.
10
People
bucks.
started
I don't give a shit.
covering you.
Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
the
Hollis.
cats started strolling out. I don't give a
Can you guys
fuck.
hear me?
They didn't answer my question.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, Hollis. Going back to the DoorDash driver, if you really read over the PCA and everything, they paint the timeline of when this went down. And I'm absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, convinced that Brian Koberger was in that house killing Maddie and Kaylee whenever the DoorDash driver arrived and Xana got the DoorDash and caught him coming down them stairs. And that is whenever her and Ethan died.
Well, also, I want to point out, they're
The
paying a lot of
PCA explains it all very clearly what happened in this house if you really read it in detail and know what you're doing looking at the information.
That he was already in the house? That he was already in the house?
Whenever the DoorDash delivery was made. Absolutely.
Let's, man, I want to stick to the docs. I don't want to argue with people in chat.
I know. I was going to say, let's let T take back over.
I'm just saying in general, I don't want to sit up here and argue and fucking bash each other and this, that, and the third. We know who we don't like. People know who we don't like, this, that, and the third. And you know what I'm saying? Let's just leave it at that. Let's focus on the documents and go through this shit because I don't want to spend hours on here arguing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to spend hours on here arguing.
Real quick on that car, there's somebody here. What happens when you're at nighttime? Somebody pulls up to your house and the lights shine in your house. Would it be uncommon to say somebody's here? So around that time, the DoorDash driver could have been the somebody's here as well.
Oh,
everybody's thinking that could be Kohlberger. I'm thinking that could just simply be somebody pulling up front and light shining through the house, indicating somebody's here. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I want to stick to the documents and go through them and because I don't know. I don't want to argue with people and you know, like we've met the channels and all that shit's been mentioned on here for the last couple of days, and I feel like it's been said, and the more we keep brewing it, the more it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's just
absolutely
it's filling up some shit that ends up getting real nasty, and then guess what? Nobody at the end of the day, people will be there for drama, but at the end of the day, people will leave and not respect you for that. And I'm not fitting to be a stomping ground for that shit. People know who I don't like, and that's just that. I speak my open mind in Discord and leave it at that.
So let's get back to these documents.
I want to get back to the documents and stick to the case and not be surrounded with the drama. Like, you know what I mean?
So every time they say white sedan, they're referring to the Elantra, obviously, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because right here, one area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan seen on camera located at 1112 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18th, 2022. By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. Precisely how the police came to believe the car was a white Elantra is still unknown. A report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st, 2023 shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction and at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So I guess they're insinuating that Brian was heading in the wrong direction at the wrong time.
So
Am
he
I
turned
wrong?
around.
Is that what I got on that?
So he turned around. I don't
That's
know.
what it said.
Right, but there's something else in that document that nobody, I don't think y'all are picking up on either. Analysis heavily relying on a video. That means they have more than one, and it says it right there.
Well, I mean, we know. I mean, obviously, I feel like there's video. 51 terabytes. I mean, that's got to be a lot of video evidence in there, or stuff that they're, you know what I'm saying? They're pulling and using.
Right.
Hours and hours of it. They probably have to give over all the hours of it, correct?
Right, because they're going to go like to businesses like CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, places like that. They have DVRs, and they're not going to just pull the video from those DVRs for just one day. They're probably going to look at several days, you know, to see what his patterns were to try to establish whether he was going there based on the pings. So they're going to look at the pings, and they're going to look at all these other establishments that they found hold video facing roadways, and they're going to determine whether he came by at the same time those pings were.
Hey, Detective John, can we talk about them pings for just a minute? Because everybody out here is always saying, "Oh, there was one out of the 12 pings that can't be verified. He was even in Moscow, so the pings they're of no use." Can we please take a moment to talk about these pings and explain to everyone?
If it's okay with T-REV, it's his show.
Can we do that, T?
Can we do what?
Can we talk about data pings for just a minute with cell towers? Just for a second.
Speak on it. That's definitely part of the case. I want to definitely finish going through these documents. Go ahead, talk about it.
Okay. How data pings work on cell towers is it doesn't just ping one data cell tower in the area. It pings off every data cell tower within the area of its range. Okay. And whenever it pings off the different towers, it doesn't just send one data ping back and get that information. It sends all of those pings at one time. And think about taking a triangle and making bubbles expand on each other from the different points of the triangle at every peak of their angle, and where it crosses on that map is an X, and it's just as good as GPS in showing you where someone's coordinates are using the multiple pings. Whenever they said that one ping could not specifically put him in Moscow, that is because he was enough out of range that only one data tower picked him up, and they could not say for 100% that he was in Moscow. That's just simply how data pinging works.
They usually work in 10-mile, unless something's changed since I left. They usually work in 10-mile radiuses. So each tower will cover about 10 miles. So if you came from the north, of course, the north tower would catch it. South tower would catch it if you went the long way around, south way. And they'll have an east and west tower as well. And it's a triangulation process. Very, very high tech, way above, anything that I know. I just know what the little bit that I know about it. But there's going to be, people that are going to testify just like they did in the Murdaugh case. And if anyone has not watched that, they'll get a good idea of how this is going to be put together using pings, because it's very, 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 very compelling.
Well, what fascinates me about cell phone tower ping data is they can not only tell your location within the latitude and longitude of GPS, but they can actually tell you in feet how far you are above sea level, and rapid changes in it too. That data was brought into play so that they could find hikers and stuff that went missing in mountains.
Right. And also, if the information on the car is accurate, like we're suspecting, they'll be able to coordinate the times and everything with that car, just like they did with Murdaugh. And it'll be very, very compelling evidence that he's going to have a very hard time explaining. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to explain what his alibi is for being out that time in the morning anyway, driving around. Although
Absolutely.
he could have been out partying like a lot of people are, or just leaving an establishment. So he's going to have to go, okay, well, I was at a bar, so I was on my way home from the corner club or wherever. Just putting that out there, not saying he was
I
there.
think he's going to come out later and claim that the reason he didn't give an alibi was because he was buying drugs. I just see that coming out. I see that coming into play.
Could be.
What if he was going to a friend's house around the area picking up the drugs?
I think that's going to be his alibi. But I think he's still holding out hopes that person is going to be his alibi.
Right.
But go ahead back to the document too, Rev.
Yeah, let's get back to it and cover. Like I want to get. We're on page 3, right? Let's jump to it now. Subjection to the state's motion for protective order. All right. The state's latest filing admits that somewhere within all of this, they engaged in investigative genetic genealogy using the DNA taken from the button on the sheath, and now claims that it was due to the use of this technique that it tipped local law enforcement to investigate Mr. Kohberger. It remains unclear what the police first relied on in focusing their investigation on Mr. Kohberger. Now, if we all go back to the PCA, if I'm wrong, correct me here. November 29th, wasn't there a tip that came in from the security officer?
Yes, at WSU.
Yes.
So wouldn't that be the tipped?
Yep. Very easily.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking when I think of that, because I remember we read the PCA so many times. I mean,
and are we to?
And you know what? That guy needs a reward. I'm sorry, but that guy, he was the starting to that car being on the, at the get go. He was.
I completely agree.
And once they finally found 2 months later, the DNA matched with Kohberger, that's what made it a little bit more. Hey, 1 and 1 equals 2. Well, that guy's my hero. That guy is my true hero for taking notice and actually taking the time to report it. Because something else wouldn't.
Something else, Hollis, is that man had to be convinced enough that it looked like the Elantra in the video to call the cops.
He did his job.
Are we to assume that he's the only one that called that same car in? I bet you a lot of people called that car in just based on the media coverage it was getting.
Right, Detective John, but that's the only documented case of it being proven that it was reported.
Right, because they went and interviewed him right away. But also, the car being an actual 2015, he could have said anybody that asked, oh, well, they're looking for a 13 or below. My car's a 15, and that could have been a ruse put out there, basically, so we can shut a lot of that down. They might have put that out as a ruse because, clearly it wasn't a 11 to 13 or whatever they said it was. It was a 15.
Well, Detective John, I have actually compared the bodies and actually overlaid one Hyundai Elantra from the other. And the only thing that you can really tell a difference on, which I would assume is pretty difficult in a grainy video at night, but the only thing that didn't fit was the headlamps had a little bit more of an angle to them in the front, and the bottom area where fog lamps can be installed on the car. Those were the only 2 areas that were different, period. The car overlay fits 100%.
And that's what I've said from the beginning is they're going by body lines. It's just like I'll use the Porsche 911 as an example. A lot of the 911s, if you were to look at them from the side, they're pretty much the same unless you get into a wide body or something like that. But a standard 911, they all look the same. You look at the front and the back, some little subtle changes might happen, but for decades they stayed the same. Same with any of these cars,
Exactly.
Not only that, but I just realized I'm going to have to do a massive data dump in the Discord case on what
it's a grainy video. That's all they have to go off of. And these car experts got it down to as close as they could to a 2011 Elantra.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. He has a 2015. Give it a rest.
Yeah, even
it's
in
a
this
grainy
affidavit,
photo.
Even in this affidavit, she pounds.
Pretty darn close in my book.
Well, not only that, but I would also like to point out that by manufacturer standards, the manual for a 2010 to 2015 Elantra is standard on those vehicles, all of those vehicles from those years, because the parts are so close enough to being identical that they can be used on different vehicles. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
it's a nothing burger, but they're hitting on it.
Exactly.
It's a nothing burger.
I mean,
Can be
true.
explained. Can be explained away very easily.
Right. And you know, I'm all for, I really want them to show a picture of that grainy photo and compare it to his 2015 vehicle if it were taken as a photo grainy. I
Well,
want proof that it was his car just as much as everybody else does.
that's the
Prove to
photo we had
me,
in the beginning.
shut
That
down the
there's
rumors
way
that the
more.
headlights aren't this year and it's not this model. You know, no, I'm talking about in court. I want them to prove in a court of law that that was his vehicle without a shadow of a doubt.
Well,
100%.
remember that
Absolutely.
that grainy.
Absolutely.
100%. You have
Absolutely,
to prove
Hollis.
that to me as well. And I
And I
think that we'll
believe
be able to.
and I believe the Burla report will do just that.
And I think if they take a photo of his car grainy at that rate of speed, because you know they have his car, they can easily do that. It's the FBI. And they can compare that against the photo that was shot the day after driving down that way. I think the correlation is pretty damning.
Right.
In the essence,
On top of everything else. Shower curtain. Anyway, go back to the evidence, T.
yeah, but the
Document.
shower curtain.
We really get sidetracked, don't we?
The shower
Sorry.
curtain. I still want to know about this whole alleged him setting up or a girl hitting him up before she called or she didn't call the police, she hit him up, he set video cameras up on her. I want to hear more about that and know who that person is, and was it reliable, who was the source behind that, and you know, a lot of the information that came out about him. You know,
I agree with you on that, T-REV.
Because you know, things need to be fact checked, right?
100%.
Talking about the one who said
100%.
the one he went on a date with that was weirded out because he said she had good birthing hips, just like in The Handmaid's Tale. Is that the woman you're talking about?
I'm just talking about the one they're saying he set up cameras and her she called him up and he came over to set the cameras up. That's what Dateline said, right? Remember that?
I guarantee you 100% she's totally a witness. She's completely under the gag order. She doesn't want to be known. She's staying down low. She knows that shit's going to hit the fan during the trial.
We don't know nothing about her.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to know more about that because they say our source, but there's no source for us to go verify with.
Well, you know, I remember hearing about that article a long time ago. Long time ago. So I honestly think we will find that out in trial. I think I don't think she's going to in any way breach the gag order. It does her no good. I think she's going to go to trial, and I think she's going to say what happened to her with this sick fuck. And I don't think she wants the attention. I think she doesn't. I think she would love to disappear in the mass public of the world. And
I will.
Never happened to her.
I will tell you this.
From the college too.
I will tell you.
Stalked is weird. When you're being stalked, like Kaylee felt. I think Kaylee tuned into Maddie being stalked. But when you're stalked like that by a predator, it's fucking creepy.
Said she wasn't stalked. The parents said she wasn't stalked.
No, but she said she felt like it.
Yeah, but you know.
And I think she was just sensing Maddie being stalked. She was the true crime girl.
I think any of us knows when someone's watching them if we really are in tune to everything going on around us.
We feel the breath on the back of our necks. We feel the breath.
The hair on the back of your neck stands up.
As far as the law goes, you're not being stalked until you know you're being stalked. I believe there's a lot of surveillance going on. In our minds, it was stalking. But as far as the law goes, you have to know you're being stalked to actually, I mean, we can use that terminology, but as far as the law goes, you know, you kind of have to know you do have to know you're being stalked to get law enforcement involved. You have to
hold your camera over your shoulder and catch them doing it, walking behind you. But
well, it would be like in relationships when your ex-husband or somebody's following you and you catch them outside peering through the behind a tree watching you, and then you contact them.
People say get more people on panel, but I mean, I be seeing the same people on other shows that had the same panel the whole damn time, and nobody says not one word. I mean, what is it? Not what you want to hear or something? I mean, I don't get that.
Well, here's what they're asking for, T-REV. It's like you go to those other shows and they're 99.9% one-sided. And on this panel right here, we are kind of one-sided. So if we could get somebody that has the differ in opinion,
I'm just trying to figure out why. I'm just trying to figure out why I see these same people that are saying, you know, other people on panel, this, that, and the third, but I be seeing the same people that are saying it right now on other channels that watch the same people sitting on panel.
Right. I was actually fixing to play devil's advocate.
Why am I being told that? Please don't talk over me. I'm trying to get some shit out because it bothers me when I think about it. I see the same people in chat saying the other these people on panel, these people on panel, these people on panel, but I sit there and see the same people on these other chats that are in here saying that watch a whole nother panel. Is it because they're saying what you want to hear? I don't get that.
You nailed it.
If I may, Sleuthy Goosey says that the whole reason O.J. Simpson was...
Don't tell me how to run my shit. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
you guys know I love you. You guys know I love you. But look, if you don't like it, go over there and listen to that shit then. Because there's going to be different opinions all over YouTube, right? Just like Detective John and we mentioned about other shows. It is what it is, right? There's different opinions everywhere. If you don't like the opinions being heard over here at the moment, you don't got to be here.
Well, I have
Simple as that. I'm not about to sugarcoat and kiss ass. Y'all already know how I rock.
Period. I respect you because you rock that way.
Yes, and for example, I would just like to give a shout out to Sleuthy Goosey.
I'll leave it at that right there.
I'm sorry, Sleuthy. I barely think you were probably out of middle school during the O.J. Simpson trial. You're very young. But Mark Furman in no way insinuated that O.J. Simpson stalked Nicole Brown Simpson. In no way. For God's sakes.
Well,
they were being stalked because that came from Mark Furman. Are you kidding me? You don't know what you're talking about?
Hollis, don't let them get us off track like that. Don't just screw them. Come on, T-REV, let's get back to the documents.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. Like I be seeing the same people try to tell me how to run my shit. Go over there and tell them how to run their shit. Because I see the same people that sit in their shit for hours and don't say one word about who's on panel and this, that, and the third. So don't come over here trying to direct me. Please. That's all I ask. Don't come over here trying to direct me. You don't like the show today, then you ain't got to be here. Simple as that.
If anybody else is unclear,
it's probably because somebody's up here that they don't like. I understand it. I respect if you don't like them. You don't like them, you ain't got to be here. But to sit in chat and try to patronize and talk crazy and just sit there and talk shit, that I see you show a whole level of different respect over on somebody's show who's victim blaming the fuck out of all these victims and talking crazy about them drug dealing, and you're over there praising them, but come over here and try to tell me how to run my... Sorry.
Exactly, especially since they look less than 30 years old, which they'd have to be at least over 30 to have watched the 6-month O.J. Simpson trial and making comments that are totally irrelevant to the whole trial. I know you didn't sit there and watch 6 months of the O.J. Simpson trial.
Well, it's
in the story. It's ridiculous.
One minute. I followed that whole trial, and O.J. was watching her. O.J. was jealous. He didn't want her to see anybody else. Yep. He would drive around that neighborhood and watch her. He would keep an eye on her.
Exactly. Like someone says in chat, who is Mark Furman? You know, Sleuthy Goosey doesn't know. I'm sorry. I'm just going to shut up.
Just go on YouTube and watch it if you haven't watched it.
Exactly. It'll take you 6 months. It'll take you 6 months.
Yeah. Go ahead and watch it on YouTube.
And for anybody in chat,
I have my people up who show love and respect to me all the time. I bring them up on panel. Oh well, don't like it. It is what it is. The same way you see all these other little creators rolling around with their little gangs up on their panel. I do what I want with my show. This is T-REV show. You don't fucking like it, kick rocks, eat dirt. I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I be seeing the same people trying to come in here and direct my shit, but sit there and cheer on people who are dragging these victims to the fucking dirt.
Well, all I have to say is Mark Furman was vetted, and that actually allowed that murdering fuck to go free, by the way, Sleuthy. It was because of Mark Furman that O.J. Simpson walked.
Well,
End of
don't
story.
forget they used a role playing scenario where he was recorded actually using the N word, and they used that against him when it was part of what the
Absolutely.
role was.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
when
played the
he
Absolutely.
said
racist
it,
card.
when he said that he never used the N word, they used that against him and said, "Oh yeah, you did, because here it is," and he's actually role playing and reading
Which is
from a
why they
script.
won't let one bit of what they found the whole time
So
Gunderson was there into the trial.
right,
Because they're
so
going to do Mark Furman with Gunderson.
they
So
All
they're
right, so
impeach
just going to
go
they
ahead,
they
avoid
T.
they
T.
impeached
everything
they
T,
impeached
go
his
on with the show.
testimony is what
T,
they did.
Gunderson.
go ahead, T. Go on with the show. Let's talk about this.
My shit's
Yeah.
messed up right now. Chat's broken. Literally, there's nothing's even moving on my end. It's weird. I'm gonna have to back out and come back in again. Shit is weird.
And for all of you in the chat commenting about me, this, that, or the other, I just want you guys to know I love you anyways, but I really don't care. And whenever it comes right down to it, I might love you, but that don't mean I won't punch you in the face if you deserve it. Facts.
Throwing haymakers.
Well, listen, I still have that bet with Papa Sal. Papa Sal, we got that $1 bet. Papa Sal thinks Papa Sal and I think of the exact same step-by-step process that this went through, except we disagree on one thing. He thinks they have the knife, and I don't think they have the knife. So at the end of the trial, Papa, I will mail you either your $1 or you will mail me my $1.
I'll give you the $1. I will.
Well, on that
Are
knife,
you already saying you're wrong?
No, sir. If I'm wrong, I'll give you the $1.
Oh yeah,
on
I'll
that
give you yours, Scout's honor.
Yeah.
on
But
that knife.
we agree completely 100%, except for the fact of the weapon.
On that knife, I
Doc,
just would
Doc,
like to point out too that there's still that A knife on the SW from PA with no description.
we covered this, correct? This
Yeah.
argument. I'm talking about page 3. The argument. The state apparently thinks that they
Yes.
need not to explain how they came to think that it was Mr. Koberger's DNA on the sheath. Presumably, the defense is expected to accept at face value that the sheath had touched DNA, just waiting for testing by all of the FBI's myriad resources. Additionally, the defense is to guess whether the state focused its investigation on Mr. Koberger via a bizarrely complex DNA tree experiment or through its faulty identification of the vehicle involved in this case. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Mr. Koberger does not accept that his defense does not need this information. It rather obviously falls within the ambit of Rule 16b, 4, and 5, a fact that state's briefing makes clear in its kitchen sink approach to their briefing. The state begins their argument claiming Rule 16 has no interest in IgG testing and then ends their argument claiming. So that's page 3 that we just went through. What is everybody's thoughts on that?
Perhaps unsurprisingly is another unprofessional term that she used. That's kind of being sarcastic.
Like breaking down DNA
I don't mean to laugh.
experiment and their focus on
What do they
Koberger.
mean by the kitchen sink? I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean it's just out there.
The kitchen sink. I mean, let's get literal with it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this kitchen sink.
She's saying that the theories are all just topics. They're just pointless.
Okay. So I mean,
that the prosecution's making. That's all she's saying. It's an investigation.
But I just want to get deep into it for the viewers. Everything but the kitchen sink theory of litigation, usually a sign of weakness.
Oh, maybe that's a term. Like everything but the kitchen sink.
I'm reading it right now. Everything but the kitchen sink theory of litigation, usually a sign of weakness. Lawsuit, or now it's showing an example, but it says lawsuits that proceed under say 8 or more causes of action, typically either recite rigorous acts by a group of defendants or mask a lack of substance in the plaintiff's case. So that's what they're basically saying. I get it. I just wanted to get a definition for myself, not only myself, but the viewers.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand. They hear kitchen sink and they don't, you know what I mean? Like they ask a question.
I don't think the judge is going to be happy with Ann Taylor because she's trying to sell tickets to a comic show.
Yeah, she might be admonished for this. Can I answer Diane's comment here? Can I respond to that, Diane Ware? She says, the point is our court system allows the accused to have a defense. The prosecution needs to have a very solid case. All right, well, my response to that is you're right, but that's why we have, you get judged by your peers. So, maybe you don't think personally that there's a very solid case, but that's why we have 12 members of a jury that are going to decide based on the preponderance of the evidence whether a prudent person would believe this person is guilty. Just because there's some doubt does not mean that he's innocent. So I just wanted to put that out there. So anybody that thinks that way,
okay, I didn't take it that way.
That's what she's alluding to there. So no, a very solid case does not warrant a conviction. It only has to be a solid case. There's going to be doubt in every case. So it's when this comes down to,
but is it reasonable doubt?
That's what I said. So it's a prudent person would believe, reasonable doubt. Basically, you use your common sense, which you're not allowed to say in a court of law, but you use your common sense and you kind of put it all together, a culmination of the evidence, and you come up with a verdict. And you have to do that when you're deliberating. So that's why there's a four-person.
Right, Johnny?
It only takes one. It only takes one. It's gotta be unanimous, or you have a hung jury. And am I to believe that may very well happen in this case? Yeah, it may very well happen. Absolutely. They may have a hung jury, but that doesn't mean he gets off. That just means they got to go through it all over again.
See, Detective John,
will stay in jail.
I have the expectation that if Bill Thompson doesn't put the death penalty on the table, then he will absolutely be convicted. Because I think it's a matter of public safety. It's going to come down to a matter of public safety on whether or not he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. Whenever the jury gets that information, I think that if they're not presented with the death penalty, I don't think there is any reasonable person that wouldn't lock that man up behind bars with his DNA on a sheath under a person who has been killed by stabbing.
Right, but I think we looked this up, and I don't remember what the answer was. But you would know because you probably looked it up when I asked it before. And I think it was that the jury decides. But in a lot of states, the jury doesn't decide on the penalty phase. The judge does. So does the jury in Idaho decide on the death penalty, or does the judge have the final say?
I did not look that up, actually. But
I would think it's the jury, I would think.
I do know that the prosecution,
because every state's different. The judge in some states determines whether it's death penalty, and in some states the jury has to determine that. And in some states the judge can overrule the jury. So that's kind of stuff I'd like to hear about. I'm not sure in Idaho, and I know in Idaho the death penalty was abolished and then it was brought back in 1978. I'm not sure about that part of the phase.
Something people have to understand also whenever it comes to trial court and whenever it comes to convictions and the punishments administered by law, even by a jury, is at any given time after that prosecution, the judge and the prosecutor can meet in a back room and overturn a jury's opinion of penalty. That can happen at any time. That can happen at any time after a verdict is reached.
Also, the laws can change. Let's say they abolish the death penalty after he's sentenced. Then he's no longer on death row. That's happened before. But vice versa, you can't do the other way. You can't take a case that would have been and then all of a sudden put him on death row. It just doesn't work that way.
Right. But one thing also is whenever you're on death row, just like death row, death was abolished for a while. If you're on death row and they abolish it, if they reinstate the death penalty, you're right back on death row.
Right. Exactly. That's why they have stays and all that stuff. When it comes down to the final days, you have stays by the governor. The governor can actually stay in execution. He's the only one that can do it.
Exactly.
Besides the president of the United States.
So T-REV, what's in this document what's this genetic genealogy, investigative genetic genealogy?
What about it? Like,
I can answer that if you want me to.
No, I mean, what
genetic genealogy is like, you know, these I don't want to say any names because it's promoting them, but where you send in your DNA and you try to figure out what your family tree is.
History, biological relationships
your
with
family tree
individuals by using DNA test results in a combination with traditional genealogical methods. So it's genetic genealogy.
And from what I understand from the previous paperwork, it's the family tree they don't find necessary to reveal in trial. Is that correct?
It would be redundant and unnecessary.
And it would just dox people that are completely innocent.
Okay,
it would push this trial into 10
years. People are saying like, oh, the genetic genealogy tree, the FBI won't allow it, so that's just bogus. It's really because they're protecting every one of his relatives, correct?
Well, case law won't allow it either. There's case law supporting it. So it doesn't really, it's not that they won't allow it, but it's just like I said, it would just open Pandora's box. You'd be going crazy with subpoenas for family tree dating back, 60, 70 years to interview people that have, could potentially be on that list. It's
just like how his sisters both got fired from their jobs just because they were related to him, correct?
Exactly.
Which is really unfair in my book.
Well, I would think they would go to an unemployment hearing and win that and get their jobs back.
Do you think Amanda's testifying?
I hope so.
Do y'all think Amanda's going to testify against him, his sister, the youngest one?
I think both of his sisters are going to be subpoenaed in a court of law by the prosecution at the end of the day.
Because they thought they thought of him already before this even went down. They suspected him and went to go look in his car and suss that out. Do you think they're going to be on the defense or prosecution? Prosecution?
I think they're going to be cross-examined by both.
Yeah, I think it could backfire. It could backfire on either or. They could either come up there and say that he's a saint and would never do something like this, or they could come up and say, well, he's been a little weird lately, or when he was addicted to drugs, allegedly when he did heroin, from what witnesses have said, that he lost all that weight and then he changed. That's when he became a bully, according to what people have said. So,
yeah, well, he also had that surgery to remove all of the excess fat after his weight loss.
Right.
So he had a big scar across his stomach. So I know that wasn't going for him. But, with Granny Marie, I got to know, she, going back to the beginning, going back at the beginning of a crime is so important when you look back, hindsight, 2020. But his writings that she was reading the other day,
yes,
all of those writings that he did when he was around, I believe he was still in high school, like a 16-year-old. It was fascinating to read what his mind was thinking.
Yeah,
because
and what's
not what a normal mind thinks.
So they're going to have psychiatrists, psychologists, you name it, testify, and they're gonna break that down.
But there's no insanity
prosecution's going to break that down. Nope, there's
not. Well,
look
at those one postings. Look at those one postings he posted that have been outed. I don't remember which side it was, but the phrase, I feel like I'm nothing, I'm just a sack of meat. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
I know that's not my journal.
And that he had no feelings for his siblings or anybody, basically, is what he was saying. That
he was numb. He had no emotions. And
now I am interested about the chatter going on in chat. And my bad, guys, the StreamYard's broken. The comments aren't moving. It's froze at the last comment being Katie Bug, and it's not moving at all. But I can see comments on my phone. I'm looking at it right now. I can see the chat talking about, imagine Brian's sister, suspecting him, has him as a suspect. And that was through Dateline. And Amy made a good point. The problem with talking about the sisters is that we are not 100% sure if that's true. The Dateline show was biased. Them putting the stolen panty thing in there made me doubt all info presented. Now, I may not agree with all she's saying, but I do have to agree with the whole sister suspecting him. My question would be to Dateline is, did the sister tell you that directly?
Well, this is what I'd like to comment on that.
You know what I mean? Like honestly, I feel like the sister would have to tell you that directly. So if
unfortunately, all they need is a source. All they need is a source.
How long have we been watching Dateline? I know I've been watching.
I've been watching Dateline since. Wow.
So if the question is, the problem with talking about the sisters is that we are not 100% sure if that's true. I don't think. I'll tell you this. I heard it a long time before Dateline put it out there that even I heard the mother and the father both had a conversation and suspected them. I'll put that out there right now. I heard that the sister suspected him to the point that she went out to check his vehicle. So
I believe that Dad thought he did it.
And in Dateline, they did present that evidence. So Dateline doesn't put their ass on the line. Now, the second part of that sentence, she says the Dateline show was biased. Them putting the stolen panty thing in there made me doubt all info presented. I will tell you this. Dateline gets its views because they never said that the panties, the stolen panty thing in the vehicle, ever related back to Kohberger. But they're going to draw you in watching further with filler info to make you go to the next, full information they have. Trust me, it's the TV and film industry. Okay? So that was not really related to Kohberger. We don't really know anything about that. No one's even caring really about that. All I care about is who killed these 4 victims. So,
well, it may not even come to fruition.
The sisters have talked. I believe the sisters have been interviewed. I believe the sisters grew up with this man and have many experiences that are kind of bizarre. But at the same time, I'm not going to diss Dateline for just putting into what may have been a weird fraternity prank on some gal with her luggage being pulled out in the middle of the parking lot in her underwear, put this and that. I don't know if that's Kohberger or not, and I'm not going to really, that's just what it was presented as. But I don't think they presented it as that was Kohberger. I think they presented it as an incident that had happened in that parking lot, so to speak.
I think that
I don't know, Hollis. I think that video definitely insinuated that Brian Kohberger might have done that.
But I think that was that's TV.
What Papa's out?
Right.
That house was right next door.
Right, and that's TV.
Exactly, it is, Hollis. 100%.
Bottom line, everyone, that's all hearsay. So the chances of that even coming up is null. And I think that if I'm the prosecution and I've got a solid case, the last resort would be for me to put them on the stand, because it might backfire on them, because it's actually kind of an uncomfortable scenario, and the jury might not like that. So I wouldn't put them on the stand unless I absolutely had to.
I got you, Jeff.
So bottom line is, right now, that's all hearsay. We don't know where that came from. We don't know anything.
It won't even let me pull that up.
But you know how the media is. They only need a source. And as long as they have a source, they can say anything.
Yeah, and it don't matter if that source is legitimate, vetted, or true or false. If they have a source, they're not
required to vet their sources.
Exactly.
Which is horrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're not held accountable for sources that aren't vetted either.
Yeah, it's officially broken. Chat's officially broken.
Oh, that's sad. I'm getting chat on my phone.
No, I'm getting it on my phone too. I'm just saying it's completely broken on the other end though. It's broke. I had to back out just to have the last couple comments pop up on this end. Jeff said, just emailed you the video of Elantra models 2010, 2017. I edited together.
Thank you, Jeff.
Now, can somebody answer me this, Regina? Was now Brian Kohberger's mother and father, they were both subpoenaed to talk to the grand jury, correct?
Yes, they were, and that was on that case where that girl was found in the woods after she had left her friend's house. And whenever they investigated, they found all of her belongings, her medications, her ID, everything at her house.
Which I believe was just to eliminate him.
I think they wanted to know if Brian had an alibi. They were probably telling the mom and dad, where was he?
I think they did that. Grand jury included them they knew that he wasn't involved. They wanted to eliminate him and shut everybody up. So I don't think he's involved in that case, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't either. I don't think Brian Koberger is linked to that case, but I've done some looking into other cases, and one case that I absolutely believe that he needs looked into further as a possible suspect is the Irma Kaler case.
For what?
The Irma Kaler case.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah. I don't even know about it. Well, what's that?
Hey, that's great, Jeff. That shows exactly what I was referring to. Body lines. If that car's going by, you're not going to be able to tell.
Nope. Chuck Marie says, can we ask the women on panel to stop interrupting and talking over the guys? I can't pull your chat up for some reason at this time, but they won't show up.
I just texted if that's me and Chuck Marie, I would be quiet for a while.
Women are like that. Women are like that. They don't shut up.
Especially Regina and I. Are you kidding me?
I know, Hollis.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. We're chatty Cathy's, woman.
Oh, Sal, you're gonna catch hell for that one, buddy.
I know.
It's like Papa Sal and Pat Gordon.
I know.
We are the.
What's up, baby? I see my wifey. My wifey entered the chat. What's up, baby? Athena.
And also, let me just say to everybody, if you want to shut me up, you guys, if you want to shut me up, cut my throat. Good luck with getting to it.
No, BK would have done that.
Athena, how are you?
That bitch couldn't have got close to me. I'm telling you.
You know what?
All I need is a thumbtack.
You gotta sleep sometime.
With both eyes open. Both eyes open, baby.
Yes, let's not try to talk over each other because that happens with all of us on this panel. Yeah. I'll try not to.
It is hard though when you're having a family discussion. Sometimes we get carried away.
Okay, so where did T-REV go? Where was he going?
I'm right here. I was checking out. I'm looking at this video closely that Jeff put together. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. And
so that's a good explanation right there, everyone, of what when the defense tries to make a huge issue out of this, having something like this to show to the jury would be just devastating to shut that down because it's just obvious. Now, the early models, like 2010, they're a little bit different. But when you get into like the 13, which is what his was, and the 15, go 13 to 15. There's not hardly any difference at all in that vehicle. Mm-hmm. Like it was pointing out, the headlights, the taillights, the running lights, the wheels, things like that will change. But,
hey, T-REV. I'm sorry, Detective John. Can you Can you split screen that with the car traveling in that direction the following morning? Is there any way you can do that?
Jeff can do it in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, Jeff. Do that, dude. Split screen it with that. Oh, and do it slow-mo, Jeff.
Jeff, by the way, you're so awesome because I don't even know where to look in my files right now to pull this up the way I did the overlay.
Jeff said one
rock. You rock, brother. Thank you.
He does rock. We love
I believe Jeff is a video editor.
Jeff is the beast.
He's a video editor. He's amazing.
That's what he does.
He's the man. He's the man.
Any future requests, we're gonna hit you up, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
See, those other shows don't know what they lost, buddy.
I'm telling you. You always have a lawyer or a doctor or a detective. Said the
chat goes fast. You should have. Athena says the chat goes fast. I think it was a fake video with Brittany.
I think it's great to have lawyers and detectives and video editors and such in chat. On the panel. Yeah. We're not bozos.
Hey,
that helps for credibility for sure.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
Who's Brittany?
She's talking about Brittany. She's talking about old Brittany Squeers. Britney Spears. Talking about that fake blue eye video. She showed it to me.
I wanted to mention something too. So here's part of the investigation that people may not be thinking about. So based on the pings,
Jeff said compared to which video?
The video coming down the hill from the reporter the following morning, the local reporter.
Welcome,
and he has one, I believe, in slow-mo.
That's too small. I don't think you can make that out. That's too small. It's too far away. What about the video? What about the picture from the gas station?
The gas station, yeah, that might be good.
Yep.
And look at what Jeff did here. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I believe that's the driveway going up to the apartment buildings next to him. He actually put that in the backdrop. That's pretty great.
Oh yeah,
that's actually scary as hell right there to be able to do that.
Crazy.
But I wanted to talk about probably what's also happened in this investigation is based on those pings. If we can go back to that for a moment, is I'm sure that task force were put together and volunteers were put together to actually do a grid search of that entire route to look at possible areas where he may have discarded evidence. So I'm sure there's probably footage somewhere that somebody has of people doing a grid search, and any waterways. They probably had divers looking for, potentially if he did throw the knife in a waterway. I guarantee they've done all that stuff based on the resources that they had. So I just wanted to put that out there. So there may be evidence if he did do that. There may be evidence out there that they found based on, just the route he took and those pings and the data box from the vehicle.
I want to know if he's going to be seen. I want to know if he's going to be seen with his dad at a campgrounds building a fire whenever he went through Nevada and stuff.
Yeah,
Regina,
who knows?
I think he did that right after the crime. I think he did that on his way home. I can't figure out why. I mean, that's my opinion, but I can't figure out why he went to Colorado. I feel like there could have been a relative of somebody's on his dad's side that they might have visited before the holidays started because of those storms up in the whole north, east to west USA. It was icy and all that. Do not travel alerts. I think he got rid of that evidence ASAP, and I think that's why he went around that very country roadish, a lot of forest land stuff. And I think that tracker system is going to show when he pulled over and spent some time burning his shower curtain.
Well, that's exactly right.
You're probably exactly right, Hollis.
Yeah, if they can determine he stopped somewhere on a certain time.
There's a road. I Googled Earthed it. I Googled Earthed it and went the whole route. And there was this one road that kind of really caught my attention. It was, I don't know how to say it, but I guess if you would look at that whole loop, it was about, his loop to me looked like a U, okay? It's U-shaped. It was about 1/3 down of the beginning of the right side of that U. And there was this cutoff path that went through the forest of this, basically a state park, I guess you could say. And I don't know, it went on for, it was a while, but it would have been the perfect spot for him to have stopped and really quietly and on the down low burned his stuff in one of the fire pits at the state park. I wouldn't be surprised. If they had to pay to get into the park, there might be, a receipt of that, but they don't keep receipts in Austin when you pay to go in a park. That stuff's just kind of like whatever. There's not.
It honestly depends on the park, Hollis.
It depends on the park, and that's what I'm saying. It's not one of those upscale parks. It's kind of like off the beaten path. But
I don't think he would have went into a park where he had to pay. First of all, if he was going to pull off on the side of the road, okay, I get that. But not to pull into a park where you have to pay.
It's basically.
He allegedly went off the grid near Johnson for hours. Remember, Angela D says he was trying to see what was reported before going home. In my opinion, says Dietrich. TL says they may have took the Colorado way to avoid the worst of the worst of weather. I've been up in those areas. Sometimes the longer route or the longer route in winter takes you away from treacherous road hazards.
Yeah, it was a whole not travel during that whole time frame.
If you look at the back of that car, it looks like there's a lot of salt. It's not that the car is just dirty. But I know from
road
driving
salt.
that it looks like there's salt sprayed up on that car.
It is.
Yeah.
It's road salt, and the GPS
Absolutely.
would take the GPS if he put it in, and it was weather related, would have taken him a different route. So technology is pretty.
It wasn't really.
I've never seen chat this broken. Like it literally is not coming through.
It
on
wasn't
my...
really a state park that he turned off into. That's what I'm saying from Google Earth. There's this one road that you can see from Google Earth that for me stuck out really, really prominently. And when I looked further into it, if I were committing this crime, because like I always say, guys, I put myself inside the body of the criminal. I want to know how I'm going to get away with it. That's just the way I think. This road would have been, in my opinion, familiar to him. He probably would have traveled down there before or pre-traveled down there. It's very quickly, right after the crimes, out of his whole pattern. He gets rid of the evidence for that whole road trip, basically. And it's a very long road that travels through the forest to dead ends to nowhere. And what I'm trying to say is that if that tracking system caught him, there's a time where I'm just saying, I'm going to leave it at that.
Well,
it's going to show that he showed up there and spent some time there.
Didn't he have friends that lived on that road or something? He had friends or something?
No, it's just kind of like a stoner's route, maybe to drive around and take a long trip. But it's the first massive road that you can see, that you can turn off on. And when you start traveling down that road, you're going for miles and miles. And you probably go, I didn't even remember how many miles long that road was. I would say maybe 25 to 40 miles long that road was tops.
Well, Nancy Grace
and it dead ends, and there's forest from right to left.
Nancy Grace drove that.
Isn't that the road where the Snake River is? Isn't that you're talking about, the road where the Snake River is?
No, it has nothing to do with the Snake River whatsoever, and that's what kind of has always.
She's talking about the route he took the night of the crime. Instead of driving straight back to Pullman, he went the scenic route.
I don't
think Hollis. If you guys want to see that,
whoa.
If you guys want to see that, Nancy Grace did a whole.
Boy, there's a lot of talkers. Y'all was talking over each other.
Hey, Papa Sal.
Yeah.
I have two different things I'm talking about. One is the route he drove right after the crimes occurred. Right. I think that's where he ditched off on that wooded dead end road on that, that whole trip after his crime, the big U shape he did before he went home that morning. I think that's where he got. Okay. I think that's where he got rid of his clothes in the shower curtain. I think he burned everything then. Okay. I think the knife sheath is a whole nother story. I think the knife sheath is at his property, in his home, in PA. I have two theories. It's either in the room where they said they needed
to. Or the knife? You're talking about
the knife. The knife sheath.
I'm sorry, the knife. Yeah. I think the knife is either in the video that Callie showed us of what the cops who busted into the Pullman apartment found in his bedroom that was locked, that they said they needed to triage. That could have been the knife wrapped up and whatnot. Or I believe he might have buried it somewhere near the property of his parents' home and took it with him. So there's two different things I'm talking about.
Also, can I just point out the fact that Hollis so awesomely acknowledged a stoner's route? And can we get them likes up? That's awesome.
Hey, T-REV. Nancy Grace actually did a show where she drove that route, and she said it was so ominous she had to actually pull off the road because she was scared to death. So if anybody ever wanted to watch it, you could pull up the show where she drove that route at night. It's pretty telling. I liked it.
But he's probably familiar with that road. She's not. I know there was times in New York when I go upstate to the mountains, the Catskills. Those roads were black and winding. And it's like you really had.
I mean, we're not even done with the paperwork yet, though. We're only on page 4.
And what's cool is
getting too far off. We need to stick to this. Go through this paperwork. I want to go through. We keep going back over old shit. I want to get to this new work.
Let's do it, T-REV.
I want to see what this the defense is. You know what I mean? I want to see what everybody's so jarred up for, because it says that, and it ended right here with the whole IgG testing and the rule, etc. So let's get on to the next part where it says that somehow people will. All right, so let's start up here. Right, it says Rule 16 has no interest in IgG testing, and then ends their argument claiming that somehow people will stop sharing their genetics if they were to realize the government is watching. Both arguments must fail. To begin with, the state apparently only wants to prevent Mr. Kohlberger from seeing how the IgG profile was created and how many other people the FBI chose to ignore during their investigation. In essence, the state argues that if the later STR testing is accurate, then there is no reason to concern ourselves with how the state came to investigate Mr. Kohlberger. State's brief at 9. So it says what the state's argument asks this court and Mr. Kohlberger to assume is that the DNA on the sheet was placed there by Mr. Kohlberger and not someone else during an investigation that spans hundreds of members of law enforcement and apparently at least one lab the state refuses to name. So they're saying the state refuses to name one of the labs. Perhaps most puzzling is the state's argument that while Rule 16b-5 requires them to turn over the results or reports from scientific investigations, it does not require the state to disclose what law enforcement does with the results or reports. State's brief at 14. So it says, first of all, that sounds like an admission that the information as to how the IgG was carried out should be disclosed. Second, what law enforcement does with results or reports is covered by Rule 16b-6, statements of prosecution witnesses, and 8, police reports. Frankly, the fact that members of the FBI are so concerned about permitting Mr. Kohlberger to know what they were up to with what was supposedly his DNA does not give one the impression that there is nothing to see here, as the state seems to imply. Finally, the state's claim that ICR 16G2 applies to this matter is quite bizarre. Presumably, the independent company the government relied on was paid for its work. It would stand by it in a court. The state provides no real argument as to why the company needs to be protected. It says Mr. Kohlberger is left to suspect they wish to keep their methods from being, well, now what I don't know what they're getting to, questioned to the extent that there is some concern about intellectual property that can be addressed via a protective order that permits Mr. Kohlberger and his defense team to review their work. CEG State v. Pickett. I guess they're talking about another case maybe in 2021.
They're talking about case law.
All right, so it's the second. The state appears to argue that everyone living on Earth that provides genetic information is unaware that their DNA could be used by a government somewhere for something, and B is an informant within the meaning of the term in the rule. The state citations to cases involving actual informants make this incredible leap. No court has ever found the existence of a DNA informant. It would appear that the state is acknowledging that the companies are providing personal information to the state that those companies and the government would suffer if the public were to realize it. Now it says here, the only two databases that allow access are ones that already inform their users, and those users can opt into allow law enforcement searches. The statement by the government implies that databases searched may be ones that law enforcement is specifically barred from, which explains why they do not want to disclose their methods. If the fact that the government is looking at the genetic information that people are sharing was at all an issue, then the state's very public acknowledgement of such investigations was clearly a big mistake. Now it says here on page 5 out of 8, in any case, is it It is, or I'm sorry again. In any case, it is hard to understand why Mr. Kohlberger should be the one to suffer because these companies and our government choose either to mislead or not educate the public. According to the Pew, I don't know what they're saying on that Research Center in February 2020, 48% of respondents that thought it was acceptable to give their data to law enforcement to solve crime. 33% said no, 18% were unsure. James Halpin, police use of forensic genealogy tech raises privacy concerns. The Citizen's Voice, March 28, 2022, available at, however, 60% thought their genetic information could not be shared with other companies. So I mean, we're getting to page 6.
So she's arguing basically what her beliefs are, or what Covert. She's trying to argue a completely different argument. She's trying to argue that basically the way that they tested the DNA should be revealed to them. Well, guess what? That's what your job is. Go find a company to test the DNA yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? She doesn't have to divulge how this company tested it. I guarantee you they wouldn't even understand the scientific language in the entire report of how it was found from A to B. But they want her to prove it. You know what she basically said? You can look for this company and how they do it. And she gave them the place to look. You know what I'm saying? She's not letting them. It's like she's not doing their job for them, and that's what they're asking them to do.
Not only that, but since when was it okay to? I mean, if you really want to look at the law, when has it ever been okay to expose the information of an innocent victim in court just on the grounds of evidence being provided by that victim?
It looks like the 2016. Put that 2016 back up.
You guys, not only that, but they don't need to present. They don't need to present it because the fact of the fact of the matter remains. The fact of the matter remains that this defense, Hollis is completely right, can look up this information for themselves by submitting Brian Kohlberger's DNA to the same ancestral DNA sites themselves and acquiring this information. It doesn't fall under the rule of evidence because it is not evidence. It's like not evidence.
It's like basically getting a doctor's second opinion. I may go to one doctor who tells me one thing, I'm totally inoperable. And then if I shockingly go to a second doctor and he says, hey, I can fix you with today's technology, that's two completely different, you know.
And that's why they went to Texas. They went
right, Hollis. But now apply that to the defense's statistics. Apply that to the defense's statistics.
Well, that's the thing. The defense has to test their own DNA. Quit worrying about how the state tested
we're getting
it and
shot
connected
down, buddy.
it.
You're not going to get a word in.
Okay, can I speak for a second? I'm getting shot down. So what people don't realize too is a lot of these companies that you submit for your your DNA to find your family tree do not cooperate with law enforcement. It's in the paperwork. So,
I never knew that. Thank you.
Yeah, they don't. Not all of them do.
I was scared because mine isn't
they
in
do
there.
not cooperate with law enforcement, and that's part of the reason why some of them make a little more money than others. But I just got one question. I know I got a Woody, and T-REV's got a Woody, and Sal's probably got a Woody. But based on this, did the ladies cream their pants like the other chick did? Oh my God, this is earth-shattering.
Hold on.
Oh my God. I'm going crazy.
Oh my God, on this Jeff wondrous word.
I'm going crazy. Hollis, did you cream your pants? Oh my God.
No, but I want Jeff to get I want Jeff to get an oh my God for this work. Can we hear it?
Oh my God.
Hold on, I got to push this pup tent down that I have because that was just earth-shattering stuff right there, T-REV.
Right.
Holy moly.
I know, but this is just as earth-shattering. I'm sorry, but it's as earth-shattering as the whole Bethany Funk subpoena fiasco. It's that earth-shattering.
Right? It's just it's insane.
The thing is that what drives me nuts, well, they're fighting for this man's life. I get it. They're paid for that. They're
Yeah.
going to delay it, and just like High Priestess said the other day in her phone call, at the end of the day, we will all have the same evidence at the end of the trial. You know what I mean? It will all be presented to us.
A
at the
picture
end
will
of
be
the
painted.
trial.
And we know nothing about Bethany. We know we've yet to really hear anything besides the possible exculpatory evidence that she holds. And now we have.
And you know what I call that, T-REV? You know what I call that, T-REV?
Well, a lot of people call it bullshit and smoking
No,
mirrors.
I call it damn good parenting is what I call that.
What?
To keep her quiet.
Protecting your child from the vultures in the world. Damn good parenting.
That was my kid. I'd send him to fucking Vegas too.
Right.
Police interrogation. Police interrogation.
Get him out that area, right?
Nothing else.
Get him out that area, but yeah,
Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk's names are already kind of gonna ring bells to anybody who's familiar with this case their whole life. You know what I mean? As a mother, complete protective custody, in my opinion, as a mom.
Right.
I'm not putting my child.
I know you got teens. I know you got teens too. So
yeah, I'm not putting them out there. Also. I'm not putting them out there for the public to eat up alive. I hope during the trial they do not put cameras on those two girls, but they do show in trial what's going on. I hope they put the cameras towards the clock. Mm-hmm. Leave those girls alone, but let them testify and let us hear it, but keep their faces out of it, and let's not have to see them go through that pain. For those two girls, absolutely.
I said that from the beginning. We don't want to see them.
See, we agree on so much, Papa Sal. We agree on so much.
Let's also not forget that Ethan was a triplet.
Exactly.
He was a triplet. He's got two siblings that were, triplets that are going to be, just devastated for their whole life. They'll be known for this. That's Ethan's sister as triplet.
Forever. There has not been a case, and I think Papa Sal. I think Papa Sal and Detective John, and I think everyone on this panel and most of people in chat can agree, there's not been a crime that has gripped this community more than O.J. Simpson. This is the crime of the century. This is it.
Yeah.
It's riveting.
This is riveting.
And it goes back to what I said in the beginning. Yep. No one would really care if he walked in there with a Glock, all these people away.
For the what?
With the Glock 9, or if he went in with a gun.
Right. Yeah, they would. It's so sensationalized because of the modus operandi. He used a knife, and that's why OJ was kind of intriguing too, because he used a knife allegedly, or whoever did it. If people don't believe it was OJ, but a knife was used in that case as well.
I said at the very beginning, if this was my only child after the trial, if he was found guilty, I'm sorry, he'd have a bullet in the back of his head, and I would have no problem going to jail for the rest of my life for it.
You'd have to get to him.
I'd want every
it'd be very
bit of
hard
revenge.
to get to him. That's why he was laced up a bulletproof vest.
I'd get to him, Detective John. That's what you don't realize. I would get to him.
They couldn't keep me from him.
Hold on. If he walks out of that courthouse, his life is fucked.
I'd get a job at the prison he works out just to get rid of him.
He can go. He can go stay with CJ and Dago.
I
give me my fucking $10 back. Okay,
just to have contact with him.
Back to the documents, T-REV.
Now look, all right. So but there's 20. Which vehicle? I'm asking chat and everybody. Like, which vehicle matches the most that is put here? I mean, you can't. That picture is blurry as hell, man.
Well, remember in the very beginning, I always said focus on that back window.
No.
Take a vote. Take a vote. 16.
Listen. Damn, can I speak? 16. Can I speak? Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Let me get something off. Shit. Damn. I feel like I can't even talk on my own shit. Good God. All right. So what I was trying to say was this vehicle, that shape in the back of here, kind of looks like the one that's in that news clip, but that's besides the point. Behind the house, right? I honestly feel like this vehicle kind of looks like the one you see coming in the back where the dude, when he's speaking right here in the driveway.
Right.
You know which news clip I'm talking about? I still got it on here. I posted it on Twitter earlier.
Yeah.
That vehicle kind of looks the same shape as that vehicle that drives by. But right here, though, I'm talking about also on 2016, I think looks closest, maybe.
Yep.
Well, if you look at the back window where behind the back door where it floats up towards the trunk, that's one of the areas when you're trying to ID a car you want to look at is the window line, and the window line is identical, to that, and the headlights, and you're right, T-REV.
Which one, Johnny? Which one?
So the 2013 or 11 up, they're all the same. They didn't really change in that area. So that's what I'm talking about. It's identical. And T-REV, you're right. It does look like, because that's a granulated picture right there, and the video footage is granulated, and it looks a lot like that car that creeps up behind that's coming and going that we pointed out. So I mean, but they've got a lot more more sophisticated technology than we have. And when that granulated picture came out first, if you remember, I think it was leaked by the girl that worked at the gas station. She actually took a picture of the DVR screen with her cell phone because you could see the frame of the screen. So it was very poor quality. So when they pulled that DVR and they pulled the info off that DVR, they enhanced it. So they have much better photos than what we saw.
And don't you think the houses around their house had cameras?
Absolutely.
They absolutely have more than one video of this car. And in one of those videos, it's high enough quality that you can tell every last detail of the vehicle. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have his vehicle with his license plate within a 1/10 of a mile of the house.
Right. And the video they do have doesn't have a front license plate. Let's remember that too, because in Idaho, law dictates you have to have a front license plate. So he had the PA tags, and PA doesn't require that. So that's just another kind of nail in the coffin that points to that vehicle, and they've got footage of that vehicle without the plate. So, I mean, there's a lot of things people aren't thinking about. There's the preponderance of the evidence is definitely there. And there's a lot more than just the DNA that could convict him.
But I also have to play devil's advocate on that one, Detective John, because at the same time they can argue that any white car coming from the other state wouldn't have a front license plate on it.
Right, but they're going to put it together like the Murdaugh case, and they probably got all the other footage of him leaving his apartment at a certain time, him driving past these establishments. They got it, and they're going to put it all together, and I always say, paint a picture. And the Murdaugh case was absolutely the most compelling case I've ever seen. It was excellent what they did, and I think they're gonna bring the same to this case in the end.
What are the chances of a white car or white Elantra at 4 o'clock in the morning being at that house?
That's what 12 jurors are going to decide. 12 jurors are going to argue that.
I thought it was 15. Isn't it?
No, 15? that's your alternates. 12 in the end is all you have. The other ones are alternates in case one of the 12 that are selected for the original jury pool are the ones that are going to be, deliberating. So
I thought the grand jury.
No, the grand jury has nothing to do with that. It's going to be two totally separate. The grand jury is a totally separate group of people. That's totally separate. The jury that's selected for the actual trial is going to be a major process.
He's right here. Okay.
Yeah, major process. It's going to be a battle between defense and prosecution, vetting all of these jurors. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be epic, and it's going to take a long time.
Absolutely.
That's why there's no way this is going to go in October. There's no way.
I'm thinking January.
I think that was very presumptive and cocky for her to say that, but she kept it within the time frame for his right to have a speedy trial. So in case there was something that was just devastating that they, wanted to just get it over with, she kept that door open. So
and didn't she ask for 11/22, November 22nd? That was the address of his house.
yeah, I
She
think that's
wanted it
coincidental.
November 22nd.
There's a
Can I
lot of
say something
coincidental
here,
stuff.
guys? I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say something. I want to say something here because I think this is very important. They delayed the O.J. Simpson trial, which was supposed to start at, I think, the beginning of December, because Court TV and CNN said everyone travels, everyone's gone at Christmas and New Year's. They ended up delaying that trial until, I believe, late January to start it, all for media purposes.
Money.
Most of the
Honestly,
jury were
you can
black.
look it up. Look it
Listen
up.
to me.
I'm not going to send a
Most-
receipt. Google it. Look it up. It's there. Trust me.
Most of the jurors were black, and Marcia Clark was convinced that she didn't really care. She had OJ dead to rights, the blood on the socks, the glove, everything. Yeah.
Well, the main reason the Associated Press motion to have it delayed was because of poll ratings during holiday seasons. They sucked. And they did that, and they started it after the holidays. So if they think they're going to start this on Halloween or on Thanksgiving, I honestly believe, y'all see the delays the defense is doing. I'm thinking January 2024 after New Year's Day. At some point after January 1st, 2024, this will finally get to trial. I'm just saying that.
Hollis, I don't think it's going to get there that early.
That's just I know, right? But
well, I hope it gets there before I close my eyes, because I want to see this fucking shit.
Well, somebody needs to open a restaurant near the courthouse, because if they do, they're going to be rich as hell.
Ooh, Granny.
No kidding.
Put the gas up the car. Let's go. Who wants to invest? I'm in.
Hollis, I got some money on that. I got money on that, Hollis.
We're leaving that Karma in, even though she won't even be able to work there. I'll work it. I'll work the front desk.
I'll join you in that business venture.
Just set up a hot dog stand.
Yeah, get a New York hot dog stand with the sewer.
Oh my God, even better. You know how cheap that stuff is to rent? I'll keep it clean. Regina.
I could see Sal. You could work the hot dog stand, man. You'd kill it.
Absolutely.
Oh, we need a whole crew. Let's go.
You guys, I make my own homemade yeast French rolls, okay? Y'all should see what I can do with a hot dog stand.
Well, we're talking about hot dogs and conditions.
We are way off topic here, you guys. Come on.
Regina, you know we do it. If we could, we'd do it. You know it.
Hollis,
we shall.
I can and I will.
Exactly.
I'm still trying to get rid of this Woody that Ann Taylor's documents gave me.
Right, and
I'm just so excited.
Okay, once again, we've hijacked T-REV's chat. His live. We've hijacked T-REV.
Mine went down already.
You knew this was going to happen. You had to have known.
We gotta have some fun.
Exactly.
T-REV absolutely knew what he was getting himself into today.
Bingo, Regina.
T-REV's feeding Sosa some treats right now, laughing.
Exactly. He could even take him on a walk, and we'd still hold the fort down.
Putting more landmines, more.
I'm about to be holding the fort down. I'm about to be holding the fort down with wifey.
Oh, and T, while I have your attention, because you never respond to my DMs ever, but it's okay. If you read them, that's all that matters. Just respond. I've read them. That's all I care about. But
did you? No. Speaking on that now, did the what's it called sent to the? Because we gotta still go by the post office and grab that Missy Bever stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. I sent it. I have the tracking receipt. I'm gonna check on it, but probably Monday. I'll shoot it out to you in Discord. But it has been mailed.
So you got all the documents that we were talking about.
She got all the documents and sent them. There's a lot of stuff there.
I sent the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, and then I also sent some like transcripts from a lot of podcasts that dealt with this case. And I also sent videos of when I went down there to kind of document where this happened. Where I could not get into the church. I knocked on the door, and trust me, in Texas, I was fine with that. There was a pre-K school, that the pre-K event, that a pre-K for summer that was going on. So they wouldn't allow strangers in. I asked if I could go to their sanctuary and say a prayer. The lady was very sweet. She went and she came back and she said, well, we have pre-K in here. No one's allowed while we have pre-K under session. And she said, but you can use the garden something or whatever. And so I went to the garden something or whatever, and I took videos, and I drove on the freeway to the sports center store, turned around. I mean, I gave him video of my trip there and of her, I will say the area that she lived in and where she probably frequented often, and then all the FOIA, and then some transcripts, like I said. And then some of my, no, I didn't include what I thought at all. I'm keeping that quiet.
Yeah, that case is intriguing.
This says Brian's checklist: turn off phone, bring knife, don't pet dog, and but what?
He forgot to trim his eyebrows.
Ended.
His eyebrows. Who sent that?
Jeff.
Bring knife sheath, Jeff. Bring knife sheath.
Yeah, don't forget knife sheath. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, put knife back in sheath and bring home. You gotta edit that. You gotta edit that and make it five on the checklist.
Jeff, that is next level instant classic right there. I love it.
That should go on. Hey, T-REV, you should make that a T-shirt. Say T-REV show and put that on the front of the T-shirt.
I'd buy it.
I'd buy it too, Hollis, in a heartbeat.
I'd buy it.
Heartbeat. You know, my neighbor four houses up from me knows about this case and is so into it.
Right.
But nobody, I will ask people right and left in the grocery store, hey, what do you think about Idaho 4? And they look at me and they go, what? What are you talking about? What about Idaho? They don't know.
Hey, T-REV, I'm ready to get back. I'm ready to get back to the comedy, T-REV. Let's read the document.
Let's go.
Hold up. All right. So I was up here. This is the reason suspicious of the IGG. This is where I was. Right? No, they said could not be shared. What is that? I'm gonna read the rest of it. The citizen's voice. Okay, we read that. Thought their genetic information could not be shared with other companies' ID. There is no federal law about the sharing of genetic information, but multiple states have begun regulating police use ID. See also Lindsey Van Ness. DNA databases are boon to police, but menace to privacy. Critics say state line February 20, 2020. Available at stateline.org. Databases are born to police, but menace to privacy, critics say. Mr. Kohlberger has reasons to be extremely suspicious of IGG used in this case, rather than seeing it as some sort of complex tree building that led him. It appears far more like a lineup where government was already aware of who they wanted to target, rather than have the investigation done by someone blind to that fact. The FBI chose to do it themselves. This is akin to the police pulling in Mr. Kohlberger and 5 of his cousins off the street and then pointing at him. The only authority the state has in its favor that is on point is a trial court order from a Californian case that settled before it could lead anywhere. That says that decision relied on is People v. Johnson. The court in Johnson was not deciding whether a defendant had a right to know how he was identified, only that his identification could come in trial without a mini trial about it. A better case on the issue is State versus Ortega, I think it says, which I'm pretty sure that's what it is. In this case, in appellate court. Appellate court. That's what I thought. I thought I said it right. Appellate court heard similar arguments about the need for software used for facial recognition to be discovered to the defendant, though they would not be admitted at trial. The court, considering the matter, found we are keenly aware the cases we have discussed involve instances concerning prior hearings and potential expert testimony, and that here we are dealing instead with eyewitnesses who have already identified the perpetrator and the identification found admissible under Wade. However, the facts of this case convince us defendant will be deprived of due process if he does not have access to the raw materials integral to the building of an effective defense. In it says all this coding and this the evidence sought here is directly tied to the defense's ability to test the reliability of the FRT. As such, it is vital to impeach the witness's identification, challenge the state's investigation, create reasonable doubt, and demonstrate third-party guilt. The FRT's reliability has obvious implications for the accuracy of the identification process because an array constructed around the mistaken potential match would leave the witness with no actual perpetrator to choose. The reliability of the technology bears direct relevance to the quality and thoroughness of border criminal investigation and whether the potential matches the software returned yielded any other viable alternative suspects to establish third-party guilt. Defendants' request for identity design specifications and operation of the program or programs used for analysts in the database or databases used for comparison or relevant to FRT's reliability. At trial, the state will likely have the investigating officer explain the police investigation, including the process of retrieving the still photo from the surveillance cameras, ultimately used to generate an image of the defendant or of defendant. Although we do not speculate regarding the exact nature of this testimony and whether the defendant will seek to impeach it, the fact the state does not bear the burden of adducing testimony testimony regarding the composition of the photo array does not bar the defense access to the discovery sought. Now it says Mr. Kohberger finds himself in a similar position as Mr. Ortega. A massive investigation came to focus on him and him alone. The state appears to be trying to hide its original domino such that he cannot discover why. Mr. Kohberger has a right to discover and question the investigation that led to him. This court should so find. Now, dated June 22nd, 2023, Nancy Taylor, public defender at Kootenai County Public Defender.
Okay, T-REV, I want to tell you what State versus Ortega is about.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. Is this got to do with Tuesday? They're going to court Tuesday? Right? They're
No.
going to court Tuesday.
No, that's a hearing Tuesday.
That's something else. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It basically says, hold on. Daniel Ortega appeals his conviction for driving while license invalid. Okay. After a jury found him guilty, Ortega's punishment was assessed at 180 days confinement with a $500 fine, probated for 2 years. On appeal, Ortega contends the evidence is legally and factually insufficient to support the jury's verdict. Because we hold the evidence is legally insufficient to sustain a conviction for driving while license invalid, we reverse the trial's court's judgment and order an acquittal. So she's
comparing a traffic fucking stop.
Yeah.
Listen. Hold on.
Fucking murder.
Hold on. I'm reserving the right to talk about this. So let's go. All right. So what that's telling me is they're going to challenge facial recognition software. So what does that tell you? What do we know about intersections, people? What do intersections have in them now?
All those cameras.
Crosswalks.
Okay, so that's telling me that the prosecution has evidence that the defense is actually letting out right now that they've got him driving through an intersection with cameras, and they got snapshots of him, and they want to challenge those cameras as facial recognition. And that's what that light bulb just went up. That's what they're doing right here, because I can guarantee you he drove through an intersection that has, red light cameras.
But also,
And
Detective John,
Guaranteed.
this is why she's arguing that State versus Ortega, because the conclusion of the case was in the benefit of it.
You guys,
because
Detective John,
because
whenever
we sustained Ortega's first issue, we need not address his remaining issues. The judgment of conviction is reversed, and Ortega is ordered acquitted for the traffic violation.
right, they're saying that the evidence from the Ortega trial was bound within the scopes of the same law that is they're trying to apply to this case. They're not saying that they're using facial recognition technology. They're citing case law.
Right.
Right, but that case law is surrounding facial recognition technology, though.
Right, for Ortega, but they're trying to apply that same case law against totally different
circumstances. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. They're fishing, they're throwing bait out there, and they're doing everything they can. But
exactly.
That's why a lot of traffic light. That's why a lot of cities have gotten rid of traffic light stuff, because there's so much litigation, because somebody can say, well, I wasn't driving the car, and it becomes so litigious. A lot of cities have gotten rid of them.
After seeing this paperwork, it wouldn't surprise me that if Ann Taylor didn't end up quoting the Sun for a source of legal attributes in this case at some point.
Yeah. Well, she's doing her job, everyone. You can't hate the player. You got to hate.
She's going to throw everything out there.
And she's just a player in the game, and this is America, and this is what this is what she's expected to do. And don't get me wrong, she's doing a great job. And if she doesn't do her diligence, then guess what Brian Kohlberger can do in the end? He can cite that she was ineffective and she wasn't doing her job. And trust me, if she doesn't do everything that she is compelled to do, that he asked her to do, and it's documented that he asked her to do it, then
that's going to be grounds for an appeal.
Yeah.
And you know how many big lawyers would want to take that case? Do you know how many big lawyers, high-paying attorneys or lawyers?
I'm surprised it hasn't happened, to be honest with you.
Even no names would take that case.
Yeah, but
even no names would take that case for free.
Well, I can promise you this: she won't be at the SAO after this is all over. She'll be out on her own. This is going to make her.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She gladly took this case.
Yeah, she dumped the mother, Kara. She dumped the what's her name, Dana's mom.
What people don't understand about Ann Taylor is she's going to be absolutely rich and famous after this case is said and done.
Exactly. She can write a book.
Just like Marsha Clark. Marsha Clark was rich and famous, and she's a prosecutor.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'll buy James Patterson's book about this trial coming up before I buy Ann Taylor's book about this trial coming up.
No, I'm not an attorney, Isis. I know you asked if I'm an attorney. I'm not an attorney.
You're studying to be an attorney, though.
No, Regina is.
Oh, Regina, I'm sorry. Regina's in pre-law right now. She takes your board. You take your boards next year.
Well, I'm up on the fences about it just yet. I think I'm going to give myself a little bit of time, and I'm thinking either this coming up November or this coming up spring. I don't know which yet. It depends. It depends on how I balance everything in my life, because you got to remember at the same time, I'm a mom, I'm a true crime fan, and I'm dedicated to the things I believe in, and I'm doing this at my own pace. So,
bingo.
Well, study up your case law.
Yeah. All the more you should do.
Bingo.
Well, guys, I have to take off, so I appreciate you guys being on here. I have to take off and spend time with the wifey. She has off on weekends. I was blessed to go on today. We've been on 6 straight days. I appreciate you guys coming up on here and joining me and going over the documents. I appreciate you guys, everybody in chat. I'm sorry chat broke, guys, or else I'd be pulling your chats up the whole time, but chat
broke. Are we going to be able to see any of them, or are they gone?
Yeah, you can see them. It's broken on my end.
Oh, hey, real quick before we hang up, did you find, when you get a chance, look for that nice girl that said that the FBI came into the restaurant? I'd sent her a message to see if she would come on the show.
The
But
FBI came into the restaurant. Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember. Chat. It's in chat. I responded to her this morning or last night.
I remember what you're talking about now. I seen a bunch of the comments. There's so many damn comments, man. I've been reading them all day on that the video.
Well, she said a lot of nice things, and she didn't want to be bothered when it came to the case. But I think that if you talk to her, she might actually come on the show anonymously and talk about. I forget which one she was friends with, one of the survivors, but she's known her since she was a little girl.
Aww.
And she was talking about the drugs and all how nonsense it was. And, it was very compelling. If you get a chance to read it and post it for us all to see that didn't catch it, because it was after the show. And I thought
it's in the comments on the WSU joint.
That's one from yesterday. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll figure that out.
It's after show comments. And I responded to her and I asked her, hey, get with T-REV. Maybe we can facilitate maybe an interview with you or something, and we can get you on the show.
No doubt.
Hey,
that's kind of stuff we need to hear.
I appreciate y'all. I gotta get out of here.
T-REV, this is actually important. Are you gonna have these documents linked to your Twitter account so that the ones we didn't get? Okay.
Yes, I'll drop a download link right now.
Hey, T-REV, can you end the show with
I'll see you, buddy. I'll talk to you in chat or later, all right?
All right,
brother. Everybody, take care.
Love you, Papa.
T, can you end the show with Xana's gymnastics stuff? The gymnastics video? I haven't seen it in a long, long time.
I would, but I gotta get out of here quick.
All right.
I gotta get out fast. I appreciate y'all.
Love you guys. Shout out the Rev Gang.
Hey,
I'm gonna end it with something though. I got you.
Hey, y'all, glad you got to see me.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you. I appreciate everybody in here. I gotta get out of here, but thank you all for joining me. I do appreciate you all. Shout out to everybody that showed love and was respectful and held it down. Anybody wants to hit me up, my email, trev757psn@gmail.com. Make sure you email me. Or also, I know Boston Hippie was talking about the Discord, and I've seen a few people talking about it. All you got to do is link your YouTube account to your account with your membership on it, and that's the way you get in it, because I integrated it with YouTube to keep trolls out. So do it that way. I love you guys. Thank you for showing love. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you that's been here today. I'm sorry that chat froze and I couldn't pull your comments up and answer a lot of different questions. There was a lot going on, but I appreciate you guys bearing with me and being a valuable part here with the Rev Gang family. I love you all.
Anyone who knew Kaylee would tell you the same thing. To know her was to love her. Her love for life and everyone in it was so inspiring. She made it a priority to make everyone feel so important and so loved.
There was never a day that she didn't want to race her brother because she was just determined that girls were faster than boys, or that she didn't want to go bug her little sisters.
Favorite memory for me was watching the game with her, and every time the Steelers scored, I'd pick her up and I'd hold her high in the air.
I didn't really realize that I was in love with Maddie until the summer of 2020. We went to McCall and just spent a lot of time on the water. We floated the river and just hung out every chance we got.
They went to other countries together. Karen took them to Hawaii together. We took them to Mexico together. They went to college together. They went to high school together. They lived in their own apartment together. They were sisters.
She was so positive and lighthearted and understood the gift of life more than anyone I know. I remember her getting so mad at me for caring about the little things that didn't matter. She would always tell me she wouldn't know what to do without me, and now I have to live this life without her.
And she taught me a lot of stuff. She taught me how to be a dad, and I didn't know that till she was gone, you know?
Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love. I hope I can make you proud and try to leave an impact on this world and on people like you did.
He had such an infectious smile and a charismatic personality. And if you knew anything about Xana as well, they were very similar in how they acted together.
They were always so happy, and the way she would talk and smile about him was something I've never seen her do before. She truly loved him so much, and I know he had so much love for her.
We are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. And I want to remind you that that's the most important message that we have for you and your families, is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is